Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
Hello, Dan Patrick. Danettes.
Hello, little buddy.
Yesterday, you laughed and laughed at the misfortunes of this poor Australian anchor.
And he took a tomato.
But what's the saying? He who lives in a glass house shouldn't throw stones. I give you Chris Mannix,
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
an NBA professional who spent a week writing a story on a man and still couldn't get his name right.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What's worse, he lectured all of us,
It's not that hard to say. It's phonetically pronounced Antetokounmpo.
only to be corrected by Bucks announcer Ted Davis.
Ted Davis, the Bucks play-by-play guy.
It is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Bull, not ho.
And yet you keep putting this man on.
But that's loyalty.
Maybe MLB Tonight deserved it. Just saying.
What did he say?
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Shots fired early. Welcome to the program. Made it to a Friday. I don't know what's on the Traeger grill, but it smells great. We'll update you on that. We'll check in with the Falcons running back Todd Gurley a little later on. Arizona State head football coach Herm Edwards will join us. And Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated will join us from the bubble. You can join us in a variety of ways. If you'd like to watch on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show, you can also dial us up, 877-3DP Show. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. McLovin will have a poll question. Mario has the play of the day. And, of course, Ethan will have a couple of stats of the day as well. San Antonio Spurs playoff streak ended at 22 years in a row last night. Pretty remarkable. In the salary cap era, when we talk about dynasties, it's a little bit different than what a dynasty was back in the 50s or 60s or 70s. They won 5 championships between 1999 and 2014, but they didn't really have that ability to capture the public's imagination, like Kobe's Lakers or the great Warriors teams, what LeBron did with the Miami Heat. And that probably has a lot to do with Greg Popovich and the team's biggest star, Tim Duncan. Their style of play wasn't flashy, didn't make a lot of highlight reels. They just played fundamental basketball and some good defense there. But we'll see what happens with Pop here, because he's 71 years of age. He lost his wife, and I'm not sure if we'll see Greg Popovich coach again. Just a guess. Maybe he'll walk away. Maybe he'll want to get reinvigorated here with the young players and find a way to get the most out of them and maybe create another dynasty there. But congratulations to a great coach, great franchise, great fan base that should feel extremely proud now, even though they didn't make it into the playoffs. The Blazers and Grizzlies are set for the last spot in the West. The East is already set. We'll talk to Mannix, because I thought the Blazers were going to expend a lot of energy just to get here, and then what kind of team will we see if they get past Memphis? They only need to win 1. Memphis needs to win 2, and then your reward is playing a Laker team that's rested. And the Blazers' defense is maybe the worst in the bubble, because the Nets last night, and I will give credit to the Nets, they have played hard. They, of course, don't have Durant. They don't have Kyrie. Dinwiddie was not there as well, and they played hard every single night. And, the Nets caught everybody's attention when they beat the Bucks, and they were 18.5-point underdogs, one of the biggest upsets in the last 25 years in NBA history. But the Blazers held on to win last night as they beat the Nets, and the Grizzlies are now in there in the last spot. So those two are going to play. They may have, maybe playing 3 games here, but Blazers, if they can knock them off, I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis won the first game, believe it or not, because the Blazers and Damian Lillard, they just look spent. C.J. McCollum came through. He's got the bad back, had a nice performance last night as well. But here is Damian Lillard after last night's victory.
I mean, I could pull up from half court comfortably. The only reason I haven't done it is because I don't want to push it that far consistently, because that's just crazy. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in one of these games. Watch. No, literally from the half court line. Watch.
He was 6 of 9.
Oh my
Look
goodness!
Look at this shot by Lillard.
Oh my goodness!
Oh!
That was from the NBA logo.
I can't wait. I can't wait to look at my cohorts and say, he told me he was going to do that. He told me while we were waiting for the season to get back in, he was going to launch one from half court.
That's Damian Lillard with Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley. That's from April of 2020. And he did that last night. And it's not a heave. And here's Reggie Miller on the call. And Reggie's one of the great deep shooters in NBA history. And when he gets out of his seat watching it, and it's effortless too. That's what's amazing. Because if you've taken an NBA three, it's a man-sized three. I mean, you got to be able to have some lift. You got to have strength there. But Damian Lillard, if I add, 15 to 18 feet more, and he's shooting from the logo, with all due respect to Jerry West, Damian Lillard might be the logo if he's going to be pulling up from that kind of range there. But he had an impressive run. When you're averaging 50 the last 3 games of the regular season, that's an impressive way to go out and maybe go into the postseason. I just don't know. He looked exhausted last night. And now you have to turn around. And look, Memphis is shorthanded without Jaren Jackson, but maybe Memphis cobbles together, 4 quarters, and they could extend this a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis won the first game in this series. Yes, McLovin.
How would you try and stop Damian Lillard if you're playing against the Blazers?
Well, I've yet to see somebody do it from the standpoint of, if I let you have the jumper, it feels like with a lot of these scores, you just have to decide, what do I want to give you and what am I trying to take away? And I don't know if you say, I'm going to let him shoot those jumpers and let him, live and die with that. That's what I would do with Harden. Harden, I would say, you take the jumper. I'm not going to let you get in the paint and create contact and go to the free throw line. I don't want you to put my team in foul trouble. I guess I would say to Lillard or my team, I'm going to let him shoot those jumpers because I don't think you can stop him. Also, with the way you handle the basketball now, back when I played, maybe 10 years ago, that would be called a carry. Now, the way you can handle a basketball, I can get by you. I can get around you. And nobody calls that anymore. Just watch. Watch a game now. Go back and watch something from the 70s or 80s. You would never get away with that. This ability to be able to create your shot because you can take your hand on the side of the ball and you have this quickness, and they just stop on a dime as well. And you saw that with Lillard last night. He's able to create a shot. James Harden is able to create that shot. But I want you shooting a three. I don't want you going inside. That would be what I would try. And then they always talk about, well, you force a guy who shoots right-handed, force him to his left. Well, this just in, folks. Those guys who shoot and they're right-handed practice so much going to their left because you force them to go to their left. It's not like they go, oh, wait, I got to go to my left now? Now, the only guy I would say probably would have problems with that was Ginobili. You'd force him to go to his right, but he was so great that he would eventually get back to his left hand, his left side, and he would still somehow beat you. But Damian Lillard's on a roll. I don't know how long you can continue that. Just the energy that it takes is incredible with what he's been able to do. By the way, this program brought to you by Raycon, buyraycon.com/Patrick. 15% off these great wireless earbuds, buyraycon.com/Patrick. Bob Hill was the Spurs head coach in 1995-96. Spurs went 59-23. Next season, David Robinson got hurt. They went 20-62. Bob Hill got fired. Popovich got hired. Spurs draft Tim Duncan. 2 seasons later, Spurs win the title.
It's the greatest injury in sports history.
David Robinson got hurt. They drafted Tim Duncan, and it changed the NBA. Changed the NBA. All right, we'll come up with a poll question here. Mannix will join us from the bubble. Nextgreatpodcast.com. Details there. You ever wanted to have a pitch and say, hey, I got a podcast idea. Now is your chance. We're going to select up to 10 semifinalists, give you $1,000 to produce a pilot episode, your podcast, and then listeners from around the country will vote on the next great podcast. And I will be in business with you. I came up with the idea a couple of months ago, reached out to iHeartRadio, our radio partners, and they love the idea to give you an opportunity during this pandemic. You want somebody to hear your idea? Now you have a chance. It's called nextgreatpodcast.com, and I hope to work with you. McLovin, what do you have for me?
Okay, was the Spurs dynasty good for the NBA? And the options are no and no.
On a Friday, you're going to do that.
Thank God LeBron came along and saved the NBA because the Spurs were making it irrelevant. And you all know it, and I'm sorry to my San Antonio listeners, but...
You don't have any listeners.
There are San Antonio listeners.
Yeah, ours. You don't have any.
Did I say my listeners?
Yeah, my San Antonio listeners.
The best.
Thank you.
That's why the NFL, by the way, ratings started skyrocketing from 2008 to through 2014 with the Spurs.
What's the San Antonio Spurs?
Okay, real poll question.
Okay.
If you could buy stock in one of these two teams, the Suns or the Pelicans?
See, I think there's some issues with the Pelicans. I might buy into the Suns, believe it or not, because David Aldridge, a veteran NBA reporter, said that he had sources saying that Lonzo Ball checked out in the bubble. And he played like he didn't care. J.J. Redick, I don't know how much longer he's going to play, and you can't rely on him to be, that great weapon off the bench. Brandon Ingram, a restricted free agent. Is he going to stay? Zion Williamson's health. They may change coaches because now the buzz is if you fire Alvin Gentry, you might bring in Mike D'Antoni if the Rockets don't go to the NBA Finals. So that's just some of the talk that's going on in the bubble right now. I love Monty Williams as a head coach. I think he's just a good man, and he's proven to be a really good coach too. Then you got him in Phoenix. I might look at Phoenix, believe it or not, because there's uncertainty though. I thought Lonzo Ball getting out of LA was going to take that next step, and he showed signs of doing that during the regular season, but not in the bubble. Zion, the health issue, his weight, that is going to be something that is going to be there for quite some time. That question mark. And then Ingram, you're going to bring him back. What else are you going to do? Who else are you going to bring in? Can you bring in free agents? That's another thing. Who's going to want to go to New Orleans to play? And I don't know. But I would probably take the Phoenix Suns right now, believe it or not. Yeah, McLevin.
So what's with all the Suns hype? Because I look at their roster, Ricky Rubio's like 100. He's running the point.
Yeah.
And Booker, is he going to stay?
No, they just signed him up.
Oh, yeah.
He got a $150 million deal.
I thought Draymond was running him out of town, getting him to the Knicks.
I don't know what Draymond is talking about.
And is Ayton good? That was my other question.
I think he's good. I don't think he's great. But they're all so young. Like we get tired of them because they go into the league so early. I mean, DeAndre Ayton is 22. That's when you start your career. Now we feel like we know who you are at 22. Like, oh, that's as good as he's going to be. But if he's going to give you 18 and 12, are you satisfied with 18 and 12 from DeAndre Ayton? Now, you might say, that's not what I want out of my center, but 18 and 12, all right. I'll sign up for that right now. I'm okay with that. Booker's a legitimate star. But yeah, you're right with Ricky Rubio. He's played well. You can't, that's not your future there. Yes, McLevin.
Yeah, see, I don't know what a center does for you. That's my question. Like, can you win with a center in today's NBA?
Well, you have to have a center.
Right,
the
but
question
like that
is,
kind of center.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I mean, he has a good shot. I don't know what are his numbers of shooting wise. What's his free throw percentage?
Ayton?
Yeah.
He's a 75% free throw shooter.
Okay,
He's solid.
not. I'm okay with that. If you get him to around, because he has a nice shot. If I get him to around, close to 80%, 77, 78%, that's pretty good for my big man. And Rubio's not even 30. So, which is weird. It feels like Rubio's been around a really long time. But he's still not, that's not my starting point guard. At least I wouldn't want that as my starting point guard. Yes, McLevin.
Doesn't DeAndre Ayton have the Luka draft issue too? Like, he'll be measured again. He went 1, Bagley 2, Luka 3. That makes it look kind of worse.
And the fact that you had Luka's coach who was with the Phoenix Suns and they didn't take him. And Sacramento didn't take him. Like, Sacramento's a mess. Sacramento is going to be a mess. because I don't think they know who they are, and what they want to do in the future. And I think you saw that in the bubble. I think there's the real issues there with the Sacramento Kings as we move forward. What else do you have, McLovin? Then we'll take a break.
We had a little pre-show debate. Do you think Big Ten football should play in the spring? Because the Purdue coach, is it Jeff Brom, threw out a plan yesterday where they would start in February and end in May.
We should clarify this. It's not spring football. It would be winter football. Now, here's another thing, and, my source on all of this. By the way, do you realize where we were on Monday morning at this time? When I was telling you what was going to be happening with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. And it feels like college football is kind of settling with the Big 12, ACC, and the SEC. We know about the other sports. We know about, the lower divisions of college football not going to be playing. But it feels like maybe we're a little more stabilized with college football than we ever thought we would be. And as I said on Monday, we'll know by Friday where we are with college football. I don't know if we know that yet, but keep this in mind. It's winter football in the Big Ten. Just think about that. There's no domes here. You're playing in Ohio State in January, Wisconsin, Michigan. And if I'm a top or potential top draft pick, do I want to be playing? If I'm Justin Fields, do I want to be playing games in January in inclement weather? And not even sure if I'm going to have a full season there. It could only hurt him because you're not going to be putting up those numbers that you would normally put up when the games are in September, October, and November. Now you're going to be in January and February in the Midwest. Can't see it happening. Can't. We'll take a break. Mannix will join us coming up, get his thoughts on everything going on in the bubble. How about most minutes played in the bubble? 2 top guys play on the same team. Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum. Also 4th on the list, Carmelo Anthony. 6th on the list, Gary Trent Jr. with Portland. Blazers, they could be gassed. They could be limping toward. That's another thing with the Lakers. They may catch a break if they face Portland because of everything that Portland has been through. It was either going to be, boy, they're in playoff mode, or they're on fumes right now. We'll come up with a poll question. We have a play of the day coming up as well. We'll come back with, you know what? Ario came up with something that Mannix said back in September. Should I bring it back to Chris's attention? It's not a good look.
Then yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, Eden.
I was going to say maybe we give him a pass today, but...
Have we ever given him a pass?
No, actually never. That's why I was thinking maybe we give him a pass.
Well, we can vote on this, but it was something he said about the Lakers. We'll take a vote during the commercial break, and then we'll decide if we're going to play it for Mannix coming up next. It's 19 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. Full Sail University helped launch the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. This was a couple of years ago, and we came up with a curriculum, and it's an accelerated bachelor's degree in sportscasting designed to teach you all the aspects here. Front of the camera, behind the camera, podcasting, radio, everything in between. And what I love about Full Sail, their approach to education, because you have hands-on learning. And they have great studio facilities there. You have your cameras there. You have directors there. You're learning about all of this. And you actually are able to do it yourself. The hands-on approach there, real-world experience in our faculty. You have people who have been in this business for a long, long time and at a very high level in the industry. At Full Sail University, you can earn your bachelor's degree in about half the time, as short as 20 months. You can earn your degree online. Great group of students online or on campus in Orlando. Learn more about the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. Go to fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick. do you have for the movie? What'd you say besides the trophy?
I have the headband, which I just brought onto the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. It was fun. Last week.
You put it on.
I put it on. I did. I went all in for the Tonight Show. It was fun, and he was great. He was great. We had a great time, and I have the 47 Ford convertible. I have the wax on, wax off car. Yeah. So I just hoard all the stuff.
That's great, though, that they.
I have a can of tuna fish from my cousin Vinny. That's all I got. I stole a can of tuna. I'm not going to open that can of tuna since that was 1992. The Outsiders, I have my sneakers and my
your leather jacket.
It was a denim jacket.
Denim jacket. Did you have like Chuck Taylor Converse? What were your shoes?
They were Converse.
They were Converse. Yeah. Low cut.
Yep.
See, I would have taken the house, Mr. Miyagi's house, over the car.
The house, interesting story. The house, after shooting the first movie, the studio didn't have the wherewithal to say, let's purchase this house. Because when we went back for part two, after the second one, the house was gone. So they had to rebuild the house on the Warner Brothers ranch.
Wait, where was the house?
It was somewhere in the middle of the San Fernando Valley.
So, did they steal the whole house or knock it down?
I think they knocked it down.
Oh,
I think they didn't know about it.
We appreciate it when you send in the picture of the trophy. Now, the trophy is in one of your kids' rooms?
It's in my son's room right now.
Okay. That's a big trophy.
It's a big trophy.
Now, that was not just South Valley. That was all Valley.
That was all Valley.
All Valley.
And under 18, though.
Oh, it was under 18,
I never won anything once I passed 18. I played 18 for 27 years.
Do you have any other trophies?
Do I have any trophies? I had them from Little League. Back then, I'm sure they're next to the box of stuff that my mom gave with all the.
But you kept that one.
Yeah, that one I kept.
But we have to put that in a safe place, though. Don't you have to put it like in the Smithsonian?
Listen, from your
Has
lips,
anybody ever asked for that trophy?
No.
Okay, so you're going to measure.
Oh, great.
Todd, do you want to hold the very end there of the tape measure? We're going to see how far Damian
So you're saying
Lillard-
right there, Paul?
That's my guess. For 44 feet?
So this is 35. All right, you let go.
I call this layup. These are layups right here.
Tyler, can you come hold this one? Or actually, here, I'll just.
No, put Todd to use.
Todd's never held it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he doesn't know what that is.
So that was 35.
Yeah.
It's not really straight.
Oh, it's off by 3 inches. 9 feet, right?
No, 35. Because he's closer to like 44,
Oh,
45 feet. This,
45 would be
This.
here? 10 feet?
35. Okay, yeah, 10. This is 45.
Well,
Dang-a-lang.
if the ceiling was a little higher, then it wouldn't look as intimidating.
If the ceiling were a little higher, I still couldn't get close to the rim from here.
No, I couldn't either.
You could if you.
I think in my earlier days, my younger days, I could have.
Yeah.
That is.
Oh, we never voted on Mannix. Are you going to make fun of him or not?
Yes.
Oh, you.
I got to make sure Aereo has that.
Never mind.
Does Mario have that sound about Mannix? Okay.
So are you going to play it and say, should we?
Yeah, I'll vote.
Should we play this?
We'll settle on a poll question. We'll check in with Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated, their senior NBA writer. During the commercial break, I gathered the Danettes together and I said, should we play something that Mannix said back in September about the Lakers? And it was universal. Everybody said yes. So this is what Mannix said about the Lakers.
I get killed every year talking about the Lakers with you because I tend to be more skeptical as I was last season. But is it not more likely that the Lakers miss the playoffs than win a championship? I think that.
Wait,
I
this
feel
year?
that way right now. This year.
So the odds are better that they miss the playoffs than they win the championship.
I would say so. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Let's bring in Chris Mannix, who joins us from the bubble. Do you stand by that?
Kind of impossible to stand by that, Dan.
I was just trying to give you an out there.
No. I mean, at the time, Lakers were, bringing in a bunch of new players. I know Anthony Davis was one of them. At the time, LeBron James was coming off the most significant injury of his career. It seemed more likely that they missed the playoffs.
You don't have to defend yourself. I'm just having fun. You're a great sport. You're a great sport.
I'd like to defend myself because it stood true back then. It was. I think that was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was like late September, early October.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
like that. Come on, that's not even one of my greatest hits. Like that's not even.
Oh, it's not. Oh
no.
Well, Paulie, can we cue up some of Mannix's greatest hits here?
You have to be more specific.
Do you think this is it for Greg Popovich?
It's a tough call. I mean, he didn't leave any breadcrumbs last night after the game. There's long been an assumption that Popovich would be done after the 2020 Olympics. Obviously, those didn't happen right now, so perhaps we could see him coach one more year and then ride off into the sunset after the Olympics in 2021. But, next year is very cloudy, Dan. Like, what's going to happen with the start of the season? I mean, there was some reporting by ESPN this week that Michelle Roberts, who I spoke to last week, told the players that be prepared for a start time in January or in March. Will Popovich look at that and say, look, I got a team that's not a contender. I want to coach in the Olympics no matter what. Do I walk away and hand the reins off to somebody else? So even though he didn't, say he was done now, I think there'll be a lot of thought into going into that over the next few months.
And I thought he positioned Becky Hammond to take over for him. And I talked to Nancy Lieberman, the Hall of Famer, about this. And then he brings in Tim Duncan. Does Tim Duncan want to be a head coach?
I don't get that sense. I don't get that sense that Tim Duncan wants. I think Tim Duncan likes the coaching part. I don't think he likes everything else that goes along with it, which includes media responsibilities and maybe the politics of being a head coach as well. I'm not sure it would be Becky Hammond either. I mean, I think there are a lot of ex-Spurs out there that are part of the Popovich coaching tree. What happens if Brett Brown gets let go in Philadelphia? They've got a very close relationship, Pop and Brett Brown. Ime Udoka was an assistant coach on Pop's staff before going to Philadelphia. He's very highly regarded as Brett Brown's lead assistant. So I think the current staff would be candidates, but I think they'd extend the search pretty far.
Woj just announced that the Bulls have fired Jim Boylan. It felt like a long time coming, and it felt like if you didn't fire him, you were going to have a player revolt. I mean, where have the Bulls been since Michael Jordan left?
I mean, in a perpetual state of rebuilding with one misstep after another. Now, they've been pretty decent at drafting over the years. Derrick Rose was a slam dunk, but, they got Jimmy Butler late in the first round. And, Joakim Noah was drafted when nobody thought he was going to be the player he turned out to be. But with free agency, with some of these coaching hires, it just hasn't gone their way. And look, it's curious that it took them this long. The explanation that was given to me about why the Bulls were waiting this long on Jim Boylan was that there was only one other coaching opening, and they weren't going to hire the team that was going to the coach the team was going to hire. That was Tom Thibodeau in New York. So they didn't feel a sense of urgency. There may be more urgency now, Dan. One of the reasons I think that the timing of this is right now is because you have teams going home, and you've got the Pelicans going home, and other teams will be bowing out, and there could be coaching changes on those staffs. The Pelicans, widely believed to at some point will let go of Alvin Gentry. Philadelphia, Brooklyn's going to have an opening at some point. Maybe the Bulls wanted to get started on their search now to try to get a jump on some of these other teams.
Yeah, well, I was just talking about the Pelicans, and McLovin said, who would you invest in right now if they were stocks, the Pelicans or the Suns? And I actually paused and said, I might go with the Suns. First of all, I love their coach, and Booker has taken that next step. I don't know how good they are as a team moving forward, but there's less drama in Phoenix than the potential drama that you have in New Orleans. Lonzo Ball mailed it in. Brandon Ingram, restricted free agent. Zion's health is always going to be an issue, and you might be firing your coach. Other than that, so who would you invest in?
To me, it's 6-1 and pick them there. I mean, I like the Suns because I think Devin Booker has shown in these seeding games and this season in general that he can be a franchise player. I'd like the Suns more if they had drafted Luka Doncic and not drafted DeAndre Ayton in that spot. I'm not a huge Ayton guy. I've watched him pretty closely as the Suns have made this rise. He's a little passive around the rim. He doesn't have great hands. There's something about him that I think has a bit of a ceiling, and that would give the Suns a ceiling. But you're right about Monty Williams. He's going to be the coach of the seeding games, as the NBA is going to hand out those awards in the next couple of days. The issue the reason I would lean towards the Pelicans, look, Zion was hurt this year, but how many guys have we seen hurt in their first or second years? I mean, Joel Embiid missed like 2 full seasons, and then he was just fine. I think Zion's going to be okay, and I'm a big believer in Brandon Ingram. I mean, Brandon Ingram is a star on the rise.
I love
this
him.
Year.
But is he going? What's he going to cost you? And
Well,
is he going to stay?
He's a max. No, he's a max guy on the second contract. Everybody's a max guy on the second contract. That is like around that range, and that second contract isn't enormous by NBA standards. So, those two guys I like more long term than Booker and Ayton as a twosome.
We're talking to Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated NBA senior writer. You were there to watch the Blazers and the Nets. I've been giving credit to the Nets because those guys are playing hard. This is their chance to showcase, and they did not stop. The Blazers, I know you're high on the Blazers. You were on that bandwagon before anybody else. It feels like they're limping towards the finish line, and they looked exhausted last. I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis won the first game between these two. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Well, I mean, first off, quickly on the Nets, like I walk past them at their practice all the time. I was in their practice. I could name like 4 guys off the top of my head that are on that team. Yeah. And it's like the guys that have been around, Joe Harris and Jared Allen. What Jacque Vaughn did with this group going 5-3 is nothing short of David Copperfield-like magic. I mean, it's incredible the job he did there. The Blazers, I liked seeing CJ McCollum get off last night. The way he was playing after having a real struggle in the previous game and the report coming out about the broken back, to see him play that way gave me a little bit more encouragement about the Blazers in the playoffs. But they don't defend anybody, and they haven't really defended anybody throughout these 8 seeding games. Nurkic makes a lot of mistakes at that 5 spot. I don't think the Grizzlies can give them a lot of trouble. I mean, the Grizzlies got in because Giannis headbutted Moritz Wagner, and then they were missing him and didn't have anything to play for Milwaukee. I don't think they take that game off. I think the Blazers get in, but I'm far less bullish on Portland's chances to upset the Lakers now than I was maybe at the start of this when they were fully healthy and they were looking like a team on the rise. I just think the McCollum injury bothers me. And as several coaches have said to me when I've raised this question to them in the bubble, who defends LeBron? Yeah. Like you can say all you want about the backcourt and the front court. Who defends LeBron? It's an interesting storyline, Dan, because I mean, Carmelo versus LeBron and perhaps Carmelo's last chance to do something meaningful in the postseason. But I don't know how they pull that off.
But you got Lillard and McCollum and Anthony and Gary Trent Jr. Those guys are among the top 6 guys as far as minutes played. And now you're going into at least you got one more game, maybe a couple games here with Memphis, and then you go in against the Lakers. And you're right about, the Lakers haven't been shooting well, but the Blazers might be just what they need to go against a team that doesn't play defense.
It's true, but I mean, the Lakers have been getting open looks. I mean, some of the games I've been at, like these looks the Lakers are getting are open. They're just missing them. And, J.R. Smith, I think he's shooting like 16% from 3-point range. And you're going to rely on Dion Waiters and some of these other guys to make shots. I mean, they're really vulnerable at this stage. Maybe not in the first round, but outside of, you heard LeBron say after the game where Kyle Kuzma made that game-winning 3, like he's like, we need him to be our 3rd best player. I mean, they need a consistent Kyle Kuzma to win anything in this whole thing. You know what you're going to get from LeBron. AD's been great as well, but they need Kuzma to be efficient, to score 15 to 20 points. And if they don't get that, they're vulnerable to any team in this bracket.
I think AD has to be superstar. He's got to be the best player on the floor. I think Kuzma has to look like an all-star, and LeBron is going to fill in the gray area there. But that's asking a lot. It really is, because I still look at the Clippers and say it feels like the Clippers are exactly where they want to be. We're not really talking about them. They don't make headlines. They're going to have everybody together, and it feels like Doc may have something here, and he knows it too.
Well, the Clippers, to me, are going to be a test of, can you flip that proverbial switch? I think they'll win that first-round matchup handily against the Mavericks, because Dallas is just limping into the playoffs right now with the way they're playing. But beyond that, you mentioned the guys, they have all their guys back, but they're just getting them back. They're just trickling in. Montrezl Harrell, a front runner for sixth man, is going to make his debut tonight, for the Clippers. So, getting these guys up to speed and on the same page on the fly when you're basically playing every other day is going to be a challenge. Now, it's a challenge that is a little bit more, manageable when you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who's played well during this run up. But I mean, chemistry matters, continuity matters, and the Clippers haven't had any of it, for the better part of the last month. So if they get a tough matchup in that second round, I think they're vulnerable as well.
And the East looks like a mess. First round matchups doesn't look like there's any surprises in store there, right?
No, probably not. But I think it gets fascinating when you get past that. I mean, yeah, it's strange to say, but the way Milwaukee's kind of been up and down, and Giannis has been frustrated throughout this whole process. You almost have to make the Raptors a co-favorite right now, which is the most remarkable thing you could possibly say. Like, you mentioned my idiot comment back in September about the Lakers. Like, the idea that the Raptors could be sitting here as a conference contender, as a potential co-favorite to go to the finals, is insane. I mean, this team, and I've been watching them a lot down here in the bubble, and some of the observations are that they're an incredibly smart team, like a high IQ team from like 1 to 10. Like, they make the right play way more often than not. And when I talk to Raptors executives there, the one thing they often say is that Kawhi Leonard's gone, but Kawhi Leonard still lives with this team. Like, the mental toughness that Kawhi instilled on these young guys like OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, like, that still lingers with this team. And that's actually something that's going to help them as they get into the playoffs. So they've got questions too. Can Siakam make that leap in the postseason? Can VanVleet make another jump in the postseason? But the way the Bucks have played, I mean, I think they're vulnerable as well. And the Raptors might be the team, because of their size, that could be the one that takes them out.
I love what the Heat have done. I love what Pat Riley's done with that. I mean, it's really amazing when you think, Wade retiring, LeBron leaves, Bosch has to retire, and all of a sudden he just starts to get a couple of draft picks, and Adebayo came out of nowhere. It felt like Jimmy Butler there wants to be there and play with that team. Duncan Robinson they find. I mean, Tyler Hero. It's an interesting team. I don't know if it's a great team, but boy, Pat Riley did a great job. He did. He did. And how you build successful teams is hitting on those mid-round picks and further back, right? You're supposed to hit on those top-level picks. But what they've done with Tyler Hero, what they've done with Bam Adebayo, who's going to be the most improved player this year, Duncan Robinson, undrafted. You watch Duncan Robinson play, and you're looking around like, what did people miss with this guy? I mean, he's like 6'8" and makes threes and has that kind of mindset where he always wants the ball. So what did teams miss with that guy? The one, where the Heat missed, and where I'm sure, and I know that the Heat front office and the coaching staff think about this all the time, especially down here in the bubble, was, and I forget, was it the 2015 draft when they drafted Justice Winslow and they could have had Devin Booker? They loved Devin Booker. He had an unbelievable workout for them down in Miami, and there was a big split within that organization about Devin Booker over Justice Winslow. If they had Devin Booker right now, Dan, we'd be looking at the Heat in a whole new light. We mentioned Doncic Nate. That's a recent example. But Booker Winslow, I mean, that's a big turning point for an organization. All right, so make a prediction here.
Oh, great.
Paulie, are we rolling on this?
Always.
Okay. All right.
I am going with Raptors, Clippers in the finals.
Raptors, Clippers. Didn't sound definitive on that.
It's just so weird down here, Dan, the way teams are playing and the vulnerabilities of these top seeds that I didn't see before. Simple as that. Like the Lakers, they're kind of shooting like I thought they'd shoot the pre-pandemic season. And the Bucks, they look great in the exhibition games, and I was bullish on them then. And then they come into the seeding games and don't play quite as well. And Giannis looks a bit out of sorts. I just every time I watch the Raptors, and they've gotten blown out, I think at least once during these games. But every time I look at the Raptors, they look the most locked in of any team in this bubble. And I just got to think that counts for something.
Are you going stir crazy? We've seen some of the players. It feels like going stir crazy.
Oh no, I have no life. What else would I be doing?
Are you allowed to bring in somebody who's a friend, or is that just basketball players who are allowed to do that?
Yeah, I'm actually scrolling Instagram as we speak to see what's happening there. No,
You're
players.
Okay.
Coaches can't do it either. So it's players only.
Players only.
I love this, and you've talked about the memo, I'm sure. But like, as one GM said to me, like he said, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but he's like, when it comes to this, players are playing chess and the NBA is playing checkers. You're going to see an interesting looking Aunt Thelma coming into coming into this bubble. Like,
well, it can't be any more embarrassing than what happened to that Seattle Seahawk, where he had his girlfriend dress up as a player and tried to sneak him by security.
It's also kind of stupid, Dan, because like as long as these whoever comes in, no matter what they are, family member, short time girlfriend, like as long as they are tested, who cares who they bring in? Like if you allow them to bring in whoever they want, as long as they go through the protocols, that prevents them from doing something crazy like what you're talking about. That prevents them from going to the golf course and then having 3 people on the 9th hole and then 4 on the 10th hole as somebody comes scrambling in off the green. So I just think as long as they're being tested, who cares who or what relationship they have with the people that come in.
Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you again, Chris.
You got it, Dan.
That's the popular Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated NBA senior writer, joining us from the bubble. Play of the Day is up next here on The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan, as always, I go through the National Day calendar, and we got a few this weekend that I don't want to leave out. I think today or tomorrow is National Relaxation Day.
Look at this kid.
I posted this just because I love their logo and their poster. My man there is chilling.
Fabulous.
What is the logo?
I don't know.
What is that symbolizing?
Looks like lava coming out of a volcano.
Is that like a mountain?
I don't know.
Is it
a low, slow heartbeat?
Your heart rate going down.
And
pressure.
Saturday also National Rum Day, Dan. You know, I'm a big rum guy, so make yourself a cocktail on National Rum Day.
And you got to go with Barrett's too.
Super duper.
Good ginger beer.
Super duper.
For your wife, right?
Nope. And this is the one.
I wasn't sure if we're rum and coke guys. So I just
Can't do
sure.
that.
National Roller Coaster
No,
Day.
thanks.
Who here likes roller coasters? Who here does not like roller coasters? I like.
I do. I'm in.
I'm on the fence.
I am very non-roller coaster.
I'm down. Negative.
Now, Todd, you grew
can't
up in the
handle
home
that.
of the roller coaster.
I could see Coney Island. I could see the Cyclone from my
How many
window.
times in your life did you go on a cyclone?
0 times. I was in camp once, and do you remember the tilt-a-whirl? It's just a little thing that kind of just spins around a little bit. Doesn't go up or down. It just kind of goes in a circle, and it kind of moves a little bit. I almost threw up on that, and I begged the person that was running it to please stop it, and I begged him each time it went around, just as I was getting to the guy that was running up.
How did it
please stop! Get out of the ride! Like I tried to time it so that he couldn't hear me, and then thankfully he stopped it in the middle, and I got off, and I swore I would never go on any ride, even
Dan,
like
in all
Ladybug
seriousness,
things.
what would you pay for a video of that? I'll put in $500.
I'll throw in money
I
for
had
that
these
for
skee ball
sure.
tickets, and they were all crumpled up because I was like, "Oh my God, please stop!" And like, I don't even they didn't let me even catch it in for like for 150 skee ball tickets for a lollipop or whatever you get. It's like I was just like, "Oh my God, please, I don't want to do this anymore."
How did that sound again?
What is that? Stop it!
Dan, the only thing worse than that is Sunday is this. National Tell a Joke Day.
Oh, man.
I think I'm going to stop it right here.
Wow.
That day doesn't exist for me. It's like Groundhog Day. Skip to the next day.
And you know what? There's no repercussions when the weather guy is wrong. Why is that? Like if I make a bad prediction, like the Giants are going to win 10 games, I hear about it. But, the weather forecaster, when he screws up, nothing happens. Yeah, see.
But, sports is loaded with people making the wrong call.
Yeah, but
nobody gets fired.
But whether,
when's the last time a draft guy, an NFL draft guy, got fired because he screwed up the whole order of the draft? It's impossible to know what people are going to take, just like it's impossible to know what the weather's going to be. They get pretty close.
But weather can be life or death.
I'm very pro-weather guy. I feel like we're very mean to weather guys and gals, weather persons.
Yes, Fritzy.
They can easily blame the instruments, or we thought it was going to be one thing, and then once the weathercast was over, minutes later or hours later, it blew out to sea or it curved a little to the left, and instead of the 8 to 10 inches, we told everybody we got flurries or freezing rain instead. So they always have an out. Something all of a sudden moved a different way at the last minute.
Oh yeah, they didn't know what was coming in those clouds. What a bunch of losers! How the hell does anybody know that? Yeah, it blew out to sea. Yeah, it's called wind.
We love Jim Cantori of the Weather Channel. We love him, but my problem is there are times where they always make it seem worse. They never make it seem like, this could be just a tropical storm.
It's like weather hot takes.
Yeah, that they want to really let you know that this could be, you got to stay tuned for Super Doppler 9000 radar here.
Right, because if they didn't make it, they make it sound really bad and then it's not terrible. What if they're like, don't worry about it, no big deal, and then you get 3 feet of snow? You're going to be like, hey, guy, what the hell? I would have prepared better if you told me that this was going to be bad, but you said no big deal. Don't worry about it.
It always feels like they enhance it. They always make it worse. Worst case scenario. Yes, Paul.
Bunch of years ago, I was watching the Weather Channel about 10 years ago, and one of the cohorts at the Weather Channel was saying, this could be the storm of the century. And Cantori goes, it's 2004. I mean, the storm of the century, we're 4 years in.
Okay.
He actually busted his cohort. I can remember watching it.
Okay, but it technically it could have been the storm of the century.
Well, I like that Cantori's telling the guy to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Hey, guy, chill out, okay?
Yeah.
You're going a little far.
Yeah.
Leave the hyperbole to me. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yes, McLean.
Now that you say it, weather is more important. Nobody ever
more important than sports.
Well, you didn't. You're not a half hour late to work because Mel Kiper, like Jimmy Clausen, you could be screwed up because like the weather guy missed the snow.
Yeah, Fritzy.
That's a very valid point. Your life doesn't alter significantly. You might be excited about a player or a team, and it doesn't work out that particular week for my Broncos or whatever. But all of a sudden, you get a foot of snow, and they said it was going to be 1 to 2 inches. It screws up everybody.
And you always had the goofy guys, the weather guy, and
he's always the wacky.
Yeah. And I always like how we give him credit when the weather's nice. Here's Jimmy Lipper. Hey, thanks again. Another great forecast. Like you didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh my God!
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day. Check this out.
He was 6 of 9.
Oh my
Look
goodness!
At this shot by Lillard.
Goodness! That was from the NBA logo.
Oh my goodness! What a shot!
You gotta be kidding me, people! Look where Damian Lillard pulls up. One dribble over half court. Dead center.
That was taken from Corvallis. Wow, what a shot.
Technically, it wasn't, but I understood what he was saying. Outside of Portland in the bubble. NBA on TNT, Dame Lillard, 13 of 22 from the floor, 42 points, 12 assists, and now the 8th seed with the play-in game against the Grizzlies coming up on Saturday afternoon. Your play of the day is brought to you by Raycon. Great wireless earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order. Buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. I didn't realize it, but I guess it's National Roller Coaster Day coming up maybe this weekend. And we started talking about, we're talking about it during the live look-in. And I'm not a roller coaster guy. And I grew up in right by Kings Island where you have this unbelievable theme park. And we had the Beast there at Kings Island. And I worked at Kings Island, so we got to ride the rides. You'd get to go in for free 1 day a week. And I never wanted to ride the roller coaster. Just, I don't like that feeling where your stomach separates from the rest of your body. The twists and turns and all of that. I don't need that. And then Todd told us a story. What was it called? Tilt-A-Whirl?
Tilt-A-Whirl. At Nellie Bly in like the Sheepshead Bay area in Brooklyn.
But that's not a roller coaster. It
it's
just
not a roller
spins
coaster.
around.
Right. It doesn't go up or down or anything. And it's pretty tame for most people. But for me, it was just like a horror show.
How old were you?
I would say 9, maybe even 10.
And describe the scene.
I'm sitting with a couple of friends of mine. It could fit 3 when at that age, 3 across. I was sitting in the middle. You put the bar down so you don't go flying out of the thing. And it starts, and I'm thinking it's okay for the first 10, 15 seconds. Then it starts spinning and moving around a lot faster than I had envisioned. That the guys didn't really explain to me how quickly it was going to move around. So I'm begging the guy that's controlling the thing to slow it down or stop it.
So while it's going,
I'm trying to scream to the guy, and as I'm getting closer, I'm like, "Stop! Please, shut it! Stop the ride!" And finally, about halfway through, he stopped it. I'm trying to time my scream to when we're going to be coming up to the point where I could see the guy that's moving the lever there and pressing the buttons.
What are your friends saying?
They were hysterical laughing, and they were embarrassed for me and everyone around, and they had to restart the ride so everyone, whatever tickets, whatever they paid to go on the ride.
So when it started to go around, you would wait until you got close to the guy who was running it.
Yeah, and I'm in tears, and I'm screaming, and I'm holding onto my skee ball tickets, and they're all crumpled up, with you roll the ball to get, and it was just a total disaster. And I'm like, please stop the ride, get me off of this. And he finally got me off, and I was dizzy, and it was.
It's like the Mechanical Bull in Dallas.
Yeah,
that was on the slowest setting.
It brought back some bad memories. The Mechanical Bull brought me back to the camp days.
Get me down. Get me down. Get me down off this.
I'll never go on a roller coaster. That's crazy.
Just had hernia surgery. Get me down.
I had just gotten.
We were talking about the Spurs. Aren't you always just not that far removed from hernia surgery?
Unfortunately, it's just always within a few months of some type of surgical procedure.
Was that after the Tilt-A-Whirl when you were 10, the hernia surgery? Is that the first one?
Yeah. I'm sure there was something going on with me. An appendix was taken out. Something happened.
Yeah, you always have something that could fall out at any moment, it feels like.
I either just had stitches or some type of sutures are moving around and they haven't fully healed yet.
Yeah. How lucky were the Spurs in the 1997 draft? They had the 3rd worst record in the NBA. They moved up 2 picks in the lottery and got Duncan. You could argue that 6 of the top 8 picks were busts. You had Duncan, Keith Van Horn, Chauncey Billups, Antonio Daniels, Tony Battie, Ron Mercer, Tim Thomas, and Adonal Foyle. The only guys who made the All-Star team were Billups and Tim Duncan there. So Spurs did benefit. And you could see there's kind of the lineage that you have with the New England Patriots, where you have the established coach, Popovich, Belichick, Tim Duncan, Tom Brady, 5 championships for Tim Duncan. And about that same, well, they made the playoffs 22 consecutive years. That's remarkable. But I wonder if Greg Popovich will be back, especially if the season's not going to start until maybe February. Herm Edwards, Arizona State head coach. He'll join us coming up next. Here is it's a 1-minute poll question.
Okay.
If a real fight broke out.
Yeah.
It's me and the Danettes versus you. Like for real.
I'm walking out of the room.
Could we? Oh, you don't want any part of us?
No.
Oh.
I'd be the one walking out of the room.
You would?
Yes. Yeah, growing up on the south side of Chicago, you learn to fight. And when you're the youngest of 2 brothers, or 3 brothers, I should say.
Yeah.
Camel clutch. I know what that feels like. Figure 4 leg lock. I know exactly what that feels like. So, when you're a younger brother and you have 2 older brothers like that, my mom would go to work on Saturday mornings and I'd be like, Mom, don't go to work. Don't go to work. And she thought it was the sweetest thing ever. I just didn't want the beating is what I didn't want. And I could never say anything because she's still going to work. And if you squeal, you're going to get it twice as worse.
Mommy, don't go to work.
Yeah, don't go to work, Mom. I'm going to miss you. She thought it was the sweetest thing ever. I just didn't want my older brother, Jerry and Jeff, kicking the crap out of me.
Okay, but you're saying you could beat up 5 grown men.
I mean, if it came down to it,
yeah,
I'm walking out of this room.
Here's our plan if we were trying to take you. We have a strategy. We're just going to kind of walk through this.
Okay.
So I would come in first and kind of just throw myself cross body to try to get you distracted. And while you forearm shoot.
So you're the diversion.
I'm the diversionary. I'm throwing myself onto the grenade, which is you.
So how fast would you just totally obliterate him on the first?
You just kind of toss him.
just a little.
Use this momentum going.
Because if you're doing that, you're not, you're bumping into me and you're hitting me, but you're not. But
and then
Okay. My plan is I'm going to run up onto here.
Oh, and I love he grabs the Cowboys helmet. Very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
Cowboys weekend. This is what he does.
Then we have.
Oh, by the way, he's giving me a look. I should not have pulled this out. David, that's an exercise.
And then next is seat with the Jeff Van Gundy, Alonzo Mourning.
Right
for the leg
down.
And hold on.
I like that.
The leg and just hold, squeeze.
Yeah. I'm going to try and get
that.
that.
That was allowed if I'm
He didn't say
well, that's the all-time equalizer right there. That's the winner.
Could you take us
I tried to
if we had a bat?
Where did that come from?
Well, if somebody has a bat, that's a weapon. I mean, how are you
but
getting
it's a
out?
street fight.
Okay, if somebody has a bat and you got 4 other guys, you don't think that's a win right there? Yeah. Then if you got bats and weapons, that's a
tough guy.
Yeah. You guys got a bat and you're calling me Mr. Tough Guy. I love it. Yeah, I mean, you would try to.
I would just go low on you.
That's it.
And I'd play dirty.
That's what obviously.
I would be concerned you're taking the bat from me.
You see, well, this is the other thing.
Like I would have the bat and you would just take it from me.
Hi, girlfriend. Oh, don't stretch. Come on. Come on. Come on out here. Hi. 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 How are you? Wait, I was going to give you one more. Did you even chew that? Would you like one more? Would you like one more? Come on. Come on. Sit. Good girl. Now, chew it. Don't swallow it. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
Hello, Dan Patrick, Danettes.
Hello, little buddy.
Yesterday, you laughed and laughed at the misfortunes of this poor Australian anchor.
And he took a tomato.
But what's the saying? He who lives in a glass house shouldn't throw stones. I give you Chris Mannix.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
An NBA professional who spent a week writing a story on a man and still couldn't get his name right.
Giannis.
Antetokounmpo. What's worse, he lectured all of us.
It's not that hard to say. It's phonetically pronounced Antetokounmpo.
Only to be corrected by Bucks announcer Ted Davis.
Ted Davis, the Bucks play-by-play guy.
It is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Bo, not Poe.
And yet you keep putting this man on.
But that's loyalty.
Maybe MLB Tonight deserved it. Just saying.
What did he say?
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
It's hour 2 on this Friday, a Meat Friday at that. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. 2 best tight ends in the NFL cashed in yesterday. Niners George Kittle, the Chiefs Travis Kelce signing hefty contract extensions, and getting paid significantly more than other players at their position. And they're both unstoppable. They're worth the money. They're too fast for linebackers to cover, too big for defensive backs. Kittle and Kelce followed the tradition of other all-time elite tight ends. You know, the likes of Rob Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez, Kellen Winslow, just to name a few. And it's good to see players at that position, and a position that's not traditionally rewarded, get rewarded. And usually tight ends are on the low end of the spectrum like running backs and safeties, but not the case here. You know, the receivers and pass rushers make a lot more. The Niners and Chiefs loaded with talent, and Kittle and Kelce present unique challenges for defenses, and they both put their teams in great position to be back at this year's Super Bowl. I was wondering about the age of Kelce, though, getting this contract, because Kittle is younger. But Kelce will be 36 when this contract expires. But we've seen players at that position still perform at a high level around that age. Tony Gonzalez, from age 33 to 37, caught more than 400 passes. Antonio Gates, Jason Witten, Shannon Sharp, also very productive at that age. And Kelce right now is 30, doesn't miss games. I think he's missed 1 game since 2013. Since his rookie season, 1 game at that position. You've got everything in place there for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, you got your best defensive player, Chris Jones, locked up. Mahomes is locked up. And now you have Travis Kelce locked up as well. Tyrann Mathieu. The question is, are you going to be able to lock up other players? Because you're going to be paying Patrick Mahomes $500 million. We might look back on that deal. In fact, I'll make a prediction. We'll look back on the Mahomes deal and, barring injury, and say that the Chiefs got a bargain. Which sounds really strange to say. You're going to pay somebody $500 million over the next 12 years and say they're going to get a bargain. But unless Mahomes gets injured, then I think you're going to look back and say, wow, they got him for that price. It's the same thing that happened with Bryce Harper. You know, Bryce Harper kept waiting. Where's he going? Scott Boris's agent is trying to leverage, trying to get, 2 teams in, and then Philadelphia signs him to a 12 or 13-year deal. And at the time we go, gosh, do you want to? I don't want to sign up somebody that amount of time. 5 years would be the most that I want to invest in somebody, just because of the unpredictability of sports and injury. But Philadelphia, they had to give him that money to get him. I don't think that was his top choice. But Bryce Harper goes to Philadelphia, and we might look back on that contract and say they got a bargain with that. Maybe the Angels got a bargain with Mike Trout. We get stunned by those numbers. Like Garrett Cole, $300 million. Okay. Would I want to spend that kind of money? No, but it's not my money. But if that's the going rate, or that's what you had to pay to get somebody, the Yankees haven't won. It's been a while. This would serve as a drought for the Yankees. And you've got Garrett Cole, and they needed Garrett Cole because that pitching staff is suspect. And I think that'll be the reason they win or don't win a World Series this year. If the pitching staff somehow is consistent and Garrett Cole is dominant, then they can win. But if not, then they're not going to win the World Series, and it'll be just on their pitching. So they did spend, maybe overspent, to get Garrett Cole, but sometimes you have to do that. The Angels overspent for Albert Pujols. That didn't work out well. Now, you got the tail, the second half of a Hall of Fame career, but if they got him maybe 4 or 5 years earlier, then maybe it would have turned out differently. But you look at these contracts and the enormity of them, like Kirk Cousins. Nobody talks about Kirk Cousins' contract anymore, but at the time we went, he got it all guaranteed. Kirk Cousins. And then, well, everybody's going to get guaranteed money now. George Kittle, do they overpay? I don't know. You might look back and say you got a bargain here with George Kittle. Yeah, McLovin.
We were wondering, how do the Chiefs afford everybody? They've had like every major signing over the last 2 years. Is everyone else getting minimum wage?
I don't know how they're pulling it off here. I mean, that's tricky. Where the most valuable person on your team is the guy who's the capologist. Like, how do you make all of this work? How do I get this person to come in? And now you're going to hope that some players are going to want to go and play with the Chiefs the way players wanted to go play for the Patriots and Tom Brady and get a chance at a Super Bowl. If you're just joining us, we got a poll question. McLovin, would you do the honors, please?
We put up for hour one, who would you buy stock in, the Phoenix Suns or the New Orleans Pelicans? Actually, the Pelicans won 57%.
Yeah, that's due to Zion.
Yeah.
But you got maybe a coach in a state of flux there, and Alvin Gentry. Brandon Ingram, restricted free agent. Lonzo Ball that was disappointing because I love when he plays at his high level. He's really fun to watch. He plays defense. His shot became at least respectable, and then all of a sudden, he just mailed it in the bubble. He did not want to be there. Certainly gave that impression. And then Zion, as you move along at his age, you're always going to be holding your breath. Can he stay healthy? And Phoenix doesn't have enough yet. I mean, we look at Booker. Monty Williams is an elite coach, in my opinion. DeAndre Ayton is not my kind of big man. And the fact you missed out on Luka Doncic. That's going to follow you forever. Every time you see Luka Doncic putting up great numbers, the Sacramento Kings or Hawks, Phoenix Suns have to be going, or somebody goes, did you see what Doncic did last? No, what did he do? 34, 20, and 14. Yeah, Paulie.
Going back to that draft 2018, I was the biggest Marvin Bagley guy. I thought Bagley was the sure thing. Fantastic offensive player.
You weren't alone.
Inside, outside. He's averaging like 14 and 7. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not that right.
Yeah, there's nothing right about it. There's nothing wrong, but 14 and 8, going that high.
And your boy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think I got that.
Great.
He was the 11th pick of the draft, and now he's starting to really come into his own.
I think he's like Pascal Siakam, that you don't notice him because of the other players on his team. And then all of a sudden, he's emerging there. He's emerging. You look at all this Kentucky talent, right? These guys who come into the NBA and you're not quite sure how good they are, and all of a sudden you're going, wow. Coach Calipari had a lot of talent went through there, and only one national title. Yeah, Paul.
Remember the guy we thought was going to be awesome, Kevin Knox out of Kentucky, big kid, swingman. He had that huge preseason game for the Knicks. He was the 9th pick of the draft for the Knicks. He's averaging 10 points for a game. He's a nice player. But everyone was like, the Knicks got a guy.
Yeah, but they've had some questionable draft picks there. I mean, R.J. Barrett, I thought R.J. Barrett was going to come in and probably get 22 a game. And he might turn out to be that kind of player. I just thought that's an offensive-minded guy, and he's going to come in and put up some decent numbers. But when you go 14 and 5 for the Knicks, 14 points, 5 rebounds, that ain't cutting it, man. Yes, McLevin.
Is this unfair what we do to draft picks where you're just defining Marvin Bagley by Luka Doncic? Like in the NFL, like Trubisky's always going to have Mahomes.
No, it's not fair, but it is reality where the Bears passed up not one but two, I think, future Hall of Fame. They traded up to pass on 2 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. So, sorry, Paulie.
I've done a good job.
On a Friday, sorry. Yes, Eden.
But, I mean, just looking at this year, Brandon Ingram was a failure up until this year, and now everybody loves him. Like, I knew this guy was going to be something, but he struggled to get his sort of sea legs under him. Why don't we he should be a lesson that we should give kids a little more time.
Well, he showed signs with the Lakers that he was really good. And then it was Reggie Miller who said he doesn't do well in a big city, and then he went to New Orleans. But you have to go out of your way to watch New Orleans. When Zion wasn't playing, nobody's watching New Orleans. He's a really good player. And maybe he is a Kevin Durant type player. But he showed signs with the Lakers. Yes, he.
But speaking, like, that sort of speaks to that the fit of the team has to be right for the individual player. Like, it could be possible that not all of the Knicks draft picks are bad. Maybe they're just in a really crappy situation.
That could be true. That could be true. I thought if Zion ended up there and then all of a sudden Kevin Durant and Kyrie are going to go to the Knicks. And, of course, none of that happened. Also, people have looked at the Nets and how hard they've played during the bubble. And, so now you're going, wow, imagine when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving come back with these players, these scrappy players. Well, I don't know if I agree with that, because remember the Celtics with Kyrie, when Kyrie went down and all of a sudden Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Rozier, they played better when he was gone. I think he might stunt the growth of quite a few of these young players with the Nets when he comes back. Yes, Paulie.
Got a quick one for you, Dan. This may upset McLovin. Going back to the 2016 draft, the top 2 picks were Ben Simmons out of LSU and Brandon Ingram out of Duke. Right now, who would you add to your roster?
Ooh.
Saucy. Lightly saucy.
Ooh. McLovin.
I'm not paying $90 million for either. Not if I want to win a title.
You have to have
one of them.
I would take Ingram now, but I don't think he's worth a max. I think he screws up your team. So I wouldn't want either.
Well, you have to pay the max. You can't get around it.
Someone's going to get stuck with those guys. I don't think – I would take Ingram, but I don't really want either. I mean, what happened to Ingram? Does he play any defense at all anymore?
I don't know. Zion doesn't play any defense.
No, I know. That's why the Pelicans got ousted so badly.
Although Ben Simmons does play defense. He's considered it.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's a great two-way player, because it's the other end of the court. I still have my questions about Ben Simmons on the offensive end.
Do the Sixers have any chance down here in bubble? Remember Mannix had them in the finals?
Well, but you got Simmons injured, and I don't know. This roster this year is not better than the roster they had last year. Lowest field goal percentage in the bubble. Lonzo Ball, come on down, 30%. Marcus Smart, 32%. And Robert Covington, 33%. So, Lonzo Ball, you can't shoot 30%. When you have the ball in your hands that much, you can't be a horrible shooter. And I thought he'll end up with the Knicks, right? They'll put Lonzo and LaMelo on there. Yes, McLovin.
I mean, some of these guys we're talking about, like, it's about time they step up. I think Lonzo's 22 now. Ingram's 22. They've had their shot in the Tatum's 22. It's now or never. I'm saying, like, these guys should be seniors, and we're evaluating them.
I know.
They're so young.
I know.
Did you know Ingram's 22? Luka's like 20.
I know. But if they play 2 or 3 years, we feel like, okay, that's enough time to prove if you're good or not. Meanwhile, it used to be you waited till somebody was around 25, where you go, okay, I got a pretty good idea how good this person is. All right, 877-3DP show, email address, dp@danpatrick.com. We'll talk to Herm Edwards, the Arizona State head football coach. He'll join us coming up. Mark Emmert emerged from his foxhole or bunker or wherever it was, and he had a Zoom call. He's the president of the NCAA. He announced the NCAA has made it clear it's not safe to play football because it canceled the FCS Division I or Division II and Division III seasons, but the other football season will continue. So the Division II and Division III seasons are not safe, and the FCS. The NCAA, by the way, has very little jurisdiction over the ACC, SEC, and Big 12. Because keep in mind, that's not an NCAA trophy that they hand out. They hand out that crystal football. That's some sponsored football. And I wonder, and I'm trying to get information on this, at least today, of how are they going to bubbleize the NCAA March Madness? And that was the term that was given to me, that they're trying to bubbleize the tournament. And I said, well, how do you have a season? How do I get to the point where I get my 68 teams? Do I go off last season? That doesn't seem right. I don't know how you do that. If you're going to have basketball, you're going to have a half a season of basketball. How are you going to do March Madness? Because that's NCAA money right there. That's your big ticket item. And if you're pushing out College football this season with the SEC, ACC, and Big 12, you can bet damn sure they're going to do everything they can to bubbleize March Madness. You got billions of dollars here. And that's the reason why there's college football with the SEC, ACC, and Big 12. They have the money to test. They have the money to be able to quarantine. They have the money to be able to hire doctors, medical staffs. You know, the women's volleyball can't do that. Softball can't do that. Wrestling, baseball can't do that. That's why you're seeing this. These other schools, the Mid-American Conference, they can't afford this. The Mountain West, they can't afford this. That's the reason why they're not playing football. Because if you could afford all that testing, then you would probably have football in some of these other conferences. Look at where we are now to where we were on Monday. Really amazing. It feels like a lot has happened. And it has. And I still get the feeling that we might see some of these schools, not every school in these three conferences, I think, will be playing football. And that's just a gut feeling. I have no information on that, just a gut feeling. Now, there is a sense of fragile to this right now. There's a tentative, like it's holding your breath. Let's just get there and get that first game, that, third week in September. Let's just get that game going. Let's just start it. And as a former coach said to me last night, if they could start the season today, they'd start the season today. Like, let's just start it and get it going. Like Major League Baseball, just start it, and then we'll figure it out along the way. And baseball still hasn't figured that out. And that's going to be a mess, too. The Cardinals, how do they make up all these games? They've played 5 games. The Cubs have played 20. At some point, baseball has to punish the Cardinals and the Marlins because you're hurting the other teams who did it the right way. And I don't know what you do because the Cardinals still have to play these games against these other teams so they can reach the required number. Like, what is going to be, you must get to 50 games. I don't know what you do. You make the Cardinals go on the road the whole time? That's where their problems started, on the road. We're going to go to a casino. But I don't know how you punish those teams if they don't abide by the rules. All right, Herm Edwards is going to join us, Arizona State head coach. What did he tell his team? Does he think there's going to be spring football? Because as I pointed out last hour, if you're thinking about the Big Ten playing football in January and February, in those conditions, in those cities, that weather, and you're going to be going into your last season being draft eligible, there are going to be a lot of players who are not going to want to play in that. I don't think anybody's thought about what it's like in Columbus, West Lafayette, Ann Arbor, Madison, when it's January or February. It's a little bit different than September and October and even November. We'll take a break. Phone calls coming up. We'll get to those. And Todd Gurley of the Falcons is going to join us coming up top of the hour. Take a break, 19 after the hour here on the Dan Patrick Show. Oh, are you ready for a great night's sleep? There's a lot of things that you can do. It's not just the bed that you have, the mattress that you have, but that's really important because Sleep Number gives you a lot of helpful hints. As more places reopen and we safely enjoy summer, quality sleep is more important than ever. Not only is it a natural immunity booster, also helps with energy and recovery. Sleep prepares you to be more balanced emotionally. People are, beginning to realize how important sleep is to their general health and well-being. And this is where the Sleep Number 360 smart bed featuring Sleep IQ technology comes in handy. It can improve quality sleep by over 15 minutes each night. Come in right now. Biggest sale of the year. All their beds are on sale for a limited time. Save 50% on a Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed. Sleep Number is the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. Shop your way at a Sleep Number store, online at sleepnumber.com/Patrick, or give them a call and chat.
Russell Wilson.
And you're the running back. I think his name is Mike. I don't know. So I'm running.
How the defender is going to blow up.
Imagine I'm running really fast, right?
Right.
And I go like this, but because of my momentum, I didn't take physics, but I think that the speed of rush.
He's clearly throwing the ball to a guy behind him.
Right.
He's attempting to.
The ball is going backwards.
The guy's over here.
And then the ball, because of the momentum going forwards, catches it up here. We believe that once it starts going backwards, it becomes and always will be a lateral.
How do you his arm went backwards? Okay, how could it possibly?
Wilson's at the
ball
48. Davis is at the 47 at the time that he lets go of the ball. He's behind him.
Fritzy's a lateralist?
I'm a lateralist too.
All right.
I think he threw it behind him.
I think by rule it's a forward pass.
Because of where it landed.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the rule.
Okay, so let's say there's a huge windstorm, right? And I'm throwing a little screen pass to my receiver, and I throw it like this, and because of the wind, it ends up back.
Lateral.
It is?
Yeah.
Because where it landed, even though it at one point went forward?
Yeah.
Because
I'm not sure.
when you throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage, if you throw it behind the running back, let's say the wind blew it, you're throwing it like this and it went this way, then
what if I threw it to my tight end who's in the flat, and just because of the wind, made it come all the way back like this?
Yeah, but that's not apples to apples with this.
But once
this is a lateral, not a pass.
We believe once the ball goes backwards, it's been declared lateral.
Flat earthers.
Yeah.
No,
we believe.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I want Russell Wilson to get away with it because I'm a Russell Wilsonist.
But you're a forward passist.
I am.
Play.
Yeah, and I'm Final Fourist and not a Final Eightist.
All right, guys. Our street team has 2 fresh new shirts going into the weekend. Yeah, that's what they call it radio, right? Seton, you're more of a local.
Sure.
So this is Aaron Rodgers. There he is with a beer, our buddy Aaron Rodgers, and he's known for drinking scotch or in a tumbler or whiskey. Or we have a fresh. And there's also a rumor that Aaron Rodgers, this could be his last season in Green Bay. A special shirt for our Packers fans. Hot.
Yeah.
We only made a limited edition of 20,000 of these, so get them fast, Dan.
Last
Last call.
Dang.
That's hot, and that's Packer colors-ish. And there's a tumbler of scotch.
Dang.
Now here's another one. Our buddy Nick Saban, that clown. I love this guy. I love that sweater.
Wait, you just call him a clown?
Like he's a funny guy. He's here to amuse you.
Oh.
I think he's a funny guy. Sneaky funny. Here's the new Nick Saban shirt. Remember Josh Jacobs told us a story that Nick Saban loves certain jokes?
These.
And Seton, what does the last part mean?
Roll blank blank tide.
Yeah.
Roll MF and tide. This, again, we made 10,000 of these. They're going to be gone by dinner. You know, Alabama
I
fans?
feel like if you're the kind of person who's going to wear a D's Nuts t-shirt, you're okay with the tide.
These are going to be all over Tuscaloosa by Monday.
That's hot.
Will Coach wear one?
Yes. Yes.
It'd be great if he came to a press conference.
Or he zooms in with us and he's wearing
Street team, Dan. Street team crushing.
Street team is all over it.
These nuts are MFT.
I thought it was an eye chart.
At the Tuscaloosa DMV?
You should do it where it looks like an eye chart, and you make the D's larger, and then nuts a little smaller, and then RMFT a little bit smaller.
The whole family can get these.
Yeah.
Fun for the entire family.
Roll
Make
Tide.
them in children's sizes.
Too good.
That's not true.
Well,
Too good.
those are the sizes that we have. Get to your phone calls coming up. 877-3DP show. Once again, Blazers, Grizzlies, last spot in the West. They play on Saturday. Cardinals have played 5 games. Cubs have won 9 of 10. And Mark Emmert, the NCAA president, appeared via Zoom yesterday. No championships for fall NCAA sports. Speaking of football, he's the head coach at Arizona State. Good to welcome back Herm Edwards. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing fine, my friend, and I'm looking at your studio there, and I'm realizing that you have a lot of memorabilia there, right? I'm watching it all, and I'm looking at all the little things you have. But I can tell you this now. You're a pretty good collector of that stuff, I understand. You don't have one of these.
Ooh.
Not
A Herm Edwards bobblehead.
Okay. And now this is gonna date us. You don't have this.
Oh, where you pick up the fumble, the Pisarcik fumble. I never saw that one, Herm.
Come on, yeah, look at that. Somebody gave this to me. It's unbelievable. I said, really? I said, okay, I'll take it. Yeah.
One of the great moments. Well, it was a great moment for you in NFL history, but that gave you immortality, right?
That kept me current, right?
By the way, and that's when taking a knee was invented because of that play, the missed handoff by Joe Pisarcik that was Larry Zonka?
Yes, it was Larry Zonka, correct.
Oh, my God.
1978. We're aging ourselves, partner. We're aging ourselves.
Do you have that football?
I do. I have that one, and I give you the next one I have. I've got obviously a few, but that was important. But I give you one that was most important. My first NFL interception was against the Los Angeles Rams in the Coliseum, and the quarterback was
Joe Namath.
There you go.
You know, Joe is such a great guy. He'd probably sign that if you asked him to.
Dan, here's a great story. So I get it. It's my rookie year. We play the Rams, and I intercept the ball, and I take it to the sideline, and they put the tape on it, right? So the game ends. We're walking out of the Coliseum. I have the ball. I'm a rookie now. First NFL interception. I'm a rookie. And I'm walking, and I see Joe. He's in front of us. And I asked a couple of bets, you think he'd autograph this? Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Yeah, probably not right after the game. But if you saw Joe right now, Joe would probably do it.
He's a good man.
Did you, so every interception you had, you kept?
No, because I've had, 33 in regular and another 5 in playoffs. I had about 38 of them.
Yeah.
But the special ones, situations, whatever it may be. But yeah, I've got a few.
We talked to Chip Kelly yesterday, and he was, it wasn't Chip Kelly the coach. It was Chip Kelly the person, where he was just saying, look, I understand it. And, we're in a hot spot here, and it's tough to be able to tell these kids that we're not going to be playing football, but there's bigger issues here. And, you're a deep thinker. You're obviously emotional. When you first got the word that you're not going to play football, how long did it take before then you get together with your team?
It wasn't very long. They knew, they knew a decision was going to be made, because we've actually had walkthroughs. We've been meeting, all those things. And I told them, when we get off the field, and we went to the field to have a walkthrough, I said, we're going to know something. And sure enough, by 1:00, I had to address them and tell them the news. And it was very difficult. There's no doubt. And I think it's difficult for everyone when you think about it.
But, this is, I said this to Coach Kelly, and maybe you could help me with this. Why aren't we getting the medical community in the ACC, SEC, and, the Big 12 together with the Big 10 and the Pac-12, so your doctors, their doctors, can exchange information here, Herm?
Well, that's a good question. And I don't know if they've done that. I don't know. I don't even want to try to play armchair quarterback, obviously. But we knew going into this that it was going to be led by our professionals, our healthcare professionals. We knew that when this thing started, like 5 months ago, right? And they were going to give us a game plan. And I think as it got closer, Dan, to having to really go out and try to participate in practice, we've had walkthroughs. Players have been working out for 2 months, but the practice deal, and then obviously with this new thing about the heart and all that all these things became a factor when they said no. And I said this, Dan, I think every school has done a nice job of really creating this bubble. That's the big term now, bubble, right? Well, next Thursday, we start school. Whole different element comes in now, right? Because of the socialness of young people. And how do you prevent that? It's hard. It's hard.
But do you even know what you're allowed to do as you move forward in the fall as a head coach?
Well, right now, we're under the same requirements we were before we postponed, in the fact that you had 20 hours. Now, they will give us a schedule. Speaking of schedules, I've got a schedule I've already mapped out until Thanksgiving, what we are going to try to do, right? And you got to keep it interesting. You got to keep players engaged, which is very tough, along with coaches. But that's what we got to try to do right now.
But why can you practice and not play?
Well, we never practiced. It was walkthrough.
Okay.
Not practice.
Okay.
We were going to actually start practicing on the 17th. That never occurred.
Do you think there's going to be spring football?
Oh,
I know you're hoping, but
there's a lot of balls to juggle here, and I think a lot of people, are asking the question, how can they play like a full season? I would give them this if I was sitting in that seat trying to orchestrate this, and if it came to fruition where we could play, I would do this in our conference. I would let the South play against the South, the North against the North. That would give you 5 games, and then the winners of both those conferences play. That would give you 6. And you could crown a champion. Then if you came back in the fall, you'd actually play 18 games. LSU played 17 games last year.
Yeah.
Right? So that way, seniors that played 6 games, it doesn't count. They could come back. They could also leave to go to the draft. So you would kind of help both parties there. And I heard you earlier when you were talking about, people playing like in the winter. And you're right. I mean, all of a sudden, the Washington schools, you look on your schedule, our schedule would be, we play Utah and Colorado, depending on when we played them, we'd be okay, right? If Colorado was here, we're good.
Yeah.
We had to go to Utah. You'd only probably get one cold game on our side of it. On the other side of it, the Washington schools, the Oregon schools, that gives you a little bit of a problem if you're Stanford maybe, because you'd have to go on those elements.
If I don't know if your kids, your athletes said, hey, why is the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 playing and we're not playing, Coach?
Right. I mean, that's going to be the question. And I told them is this, look, we're going to go by the game plan of our physicians. That's what we got to do. And I said, we're not going to play armchair quarterback. I'm not going to try to do it. That's not I just got to keep you guys whole. And I got to keep my coaching staff whole. So I'm wishing them a lot of luck. I really am. I'm hoping they can get through it. That would be fantastic. But we'll just, as well as the NFL.
Yeah,
NFL hasn't started yet either. I mean, we're going to see this thing unfold.
What are you going to do on Saturdays?
Oh, boy. That's a good question. Yeah. Well, I even got to Saturday yet. I don't know. I mean, I know this. I dealt with the 9/11 deal. I was the head coach of the Jets. My first season as rookie head coach. And I dealt with that. And I know how that was like, whoa, right? It was one of those deals like, are you kidding me? Right. The unexpected.
Yeah.
I mean, that was truly the unexpected. And dealing with that for 2 weeks. But then the emotion of when we actually got to play again. We played New England in New England. Dan, I tell you what, it was unbelievable. I mean, the national anthem, the flag, the whole deal, man. There was not a dry eye in the stadium, I'm looking forward to that again. That's what I'm trying to remember, when we actually get back to playing again. That's my hope. That's what it's going to look like.
When you coached against Belichick, I always wondered, do you almost out-coach yourself in preparing to coach against Belichick?
Well, I think the thing that Bill has done, and he's a fantastic Hall of Fame coach, obviously, you always have to understand that you have to have the ability to adjust on both sides of the ball. In other words, you could come in with this plan of, well, they ran this front defensively, right? And you're going, we're going to play against this front, and all of a sudden you think it's a 4-3, and now it's 3-4. You're going, So, you always tell Coach, we got a plan, but a plan that can't be changed is a bad plan. You got to be able to change your plan and adjust, right? So you got to know that and figure it out. So it's always a chess game. But if you understand that going in, you're going to be okay.
But when you go against Brady,
there's
nothing about Brady that, like, you go, oh my God, from the standpoint of the physical aspect of it. There's other people with better arms, obviously more mobility, like all of these things. So now it's the thinking process of, it feels like it's harder to outthink somebody who's maybe smarter than you than it is to take on somebody who has athleticism.
No, and Tom's and look, I've always said we're the starter of all this of the Tom Brady career, because I was sitting there when we knocked out Bledsoe. Mo Lewis hit Bledsoe, and in comes this guy Tom Brady, and he comes in the game, and we're in New England, and we're playing, and we ended up winning that game. It was a low scoring game, And then he comes back like 3 or 4 weeks later, and they play us, and then you kind of watch and you go, uh-oh. And then for the rest of my career, that division, I got to deal with Captain America. I'm going, come on, man. Really?
Did you even have a scouting report on Tom Brady?
We did when he came out, and it was funny because, it's funny because you look at scouting reports and all that and you go, hey, I get all that, but can the guy play quarterback? And boy, can he play quarterback. And I always tease him when I see him. I say, I said, remember, I gave you this opportunity, man.
Mo Lewis should go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And you know what? And I was a little bit, I don't know if I was surprised, but I didn't know. I thought he might not leave,
He was so unhappy. He wanted to have fun, Herm.
But I thought he might be a guy that just ends his career there, and just. But I started laughing. I said, look, if he wanted to go on the boat in the end zone, I said, I work for Tampa. I said, I can give him a free pass.
I think Brady just wanted to have fun. And as strange as that may sound to people, he was in a business. I mean, I don't know. I just think he wanted to, give me some weapons here. He goes down there, all of a sudden, I got weapons here.
Well, yeah, all of a sudden guys start coming out of retirement, right? and I think, with Bruce being down there, Bruce Arians, and good friend, and we coached together in Kansas City. I've known Bruce forever. And it's funny, Bruce, he was the head coach. He was on the Temple staff when I was in Philly playing. How about that?
Oh, wow.
Then we worked together in Kansas City when Marty was the coach. He was the running back coach, right? So, Bruce will, he will relate. He'll do things that Tom probably likes, and like he said, Tom was there forever. I mean, he's a legend in New England and all that stuff, and rightly so, he deserves it.
Yeah, I just think he wanted to just exhale. And, because it's always, who's more important, Belichick or Brady? And,
they're both together, hard to beat.
Well, I want to see are you interested in see what he does with Cam Newton?
Yeah. And, I covered Cam in college when I was doing SEC games. And I think this is one of those moments that Cam kind of likes. Because people are probably saying, well, it'll be interesting to see.
Chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, kind of that deal, right? And they'll use his talent now. They will have some design plays in there where all of a sudden he's running the ball, right? He's coming at you with the ball in his hand. You tell you what, he's something now.
Oh, it's great to catch up with you. And, if you get lonely and you just, you want to talk, then, you can always, you can call me. We can Zoom. Yeah, I'm available over the weekend too, Herm.
Yeah, we're of the same era. We can go back to those days. When you mentioned outside, I call them the Vikings, but they're not the real Vikings. You mentioned how cold it was going to be. I can remember going to play those guys when Fran Tarkenton was the quarterback and Ahmad Rashad was the receiver. And it was so cold, right? And Nate Wright that played DB for him. He was a friend of mine. He comes by the hotel and said, hey, man, when it's so cold, Fran got small hands. He can't throw the ball in these kind of conditions. I said, really? So I tell the defensive line, listen to this, Dan. Listen to this. He goes back 52 times and goes
with his small hands in the cold weather.
Yeah, and we're outside, man. I'm trying to Ahmad Rashad. I said, this ain't a fair fight. Oh, boy.
Oh, well, it's great to talk to you. I appreciate your time, and I love your enthusiasm, man. And good luck. I know you got a lot on your plate here coming up, but good to check in with you.
You, man. God bless you.
Thank you, man. That's Herm Edwards, Arizona State head football coach. Whew. That's why you do this job. You get an opportunity to have somebody who shares stories with you, that enthusiasm. And look, I didn't know how positive he was going to be. I've known Herm a long time. He's a positive guy, but he's not playing football this year, not coaching football. And it's really going to hit home in a couple of weeks on those Saturdays because your body tells you something. Football weather tells you something. It always did for me. The smell in the air, you just knew there's football being played. And you're not going to have that in a lot of places around the country. Yes, Eden.
We were talking about it this morning, actually, before the show, pulling up in the parking lot, and the Traeger grill is on because it's Friday and Alan's already out there cooking, and we were like, man, it smells like fall.
Yeah.
You know?
Tailgate season.
One of those things, yeah.
Yeah. We'll take a break. We'll talk to Todd Gurley. He'll join us coming up top of the hour. That was a lot of fun with Herm. A lot of fun. Boy, does he bring energy. And when a guest tells you the story before you even ask the story, makes my job a whole lot easier. All right, we'll take a break. Phone calls coming up next here. I know you get tired of telling the story, but you got to tell the story.
Which story?
The Prince story.
That's a great story, though.
But now you rent your house to Prince.
Yeah.
In L.A.
Yeah.
All right, so set it up from there for the audience.
Okay, so I went to the Utah Jazz, and I wanted to live in L.A., so I bought a nice crib. It was in Bel Air.
How much you spent for it?
I spent $8 million on it.
Okay.
It was like 8.6.
So it's probably worth 15.
I'll get to that. I'll get to that. So it was huge. It was like 18,000 square feet. It was immaculate. It had like 10 bedrooms, and it was just a great house. Huge pool, 3 living rooms. It was incredible. Anyway, it was like that. Oh, mom, I made it kind of house. That we all do. Anyway, long story short, I got to go back to Utah for the season. It's like September now. Season starts in October. So I go back to Utah, and I'm getting a phone call from my realtor, Roxanne Nelson, and she's like, hey, someone wants to really rent your house out. I was like, I barely lived in a house. I've been there for 1 month. I don't want to rent my house out. And she goes, well, he's willing to pay, $95,000 a month. Oh, $95,000 a month. So I was like, yeah, I'll rent the house out. So I rented out for a year. I had to go out there to sign the paper. So on the off day, I flew out there, and he comes out of a car, and it's Prince. And I'm like, whoa. I said, Roxanne, that's Prince, right? And she's like, yeah. Because he's like, he's kind of, but you know who it is. So I'm like, wow. So I'm trying to hold my composure a little bit. And but he was so cool, man. Very broke the ice, was a very huge fan of basketball. He's from Minnesota, so we had a great conversation about Kevin Garnett, who to me was like one of the toughest matchups I ever had. So I had a great conversation about him. Anyway, long story short, he rents the house out, and I go back to Utah. I hurt my hamstring that year. So I'm coming back to L.A. to visit Judy Cito, who's a great physical therapist. If you ever get banged up, I got the number for you.
I got banged up last night at the sports Emmys.
I was actually at the gala before the show. The little Anyway, so I come to L.A. I hit Prince up. I'm like, hey, I'm coming to town. I'm gonna go stop by the house. If you need anything, let me know. And didn't hear back from him. So I go down the street where I thought my house was at. I pull up to the gate, and I had these 2 lions on the gate. And they weren't there anymore. It was like this big symbol, and I didn't know what the symbol. I didn't know what the symbol was. I had, I didn't know what the symbol was. So I'm looking at the gate, and I'm like, I know this is where I thought I left my house. You know what I mean? So I go back up the street, and I come back down, and I'm like, this has got to be my house. So I put the code in, and it works. Gates open up, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what's going on? Go up the driveway, and there's like this huge purple carpet. There's like from the motor court to the front door, there was like these stairs, maybe like 15 stairs up.
So like a red carpet, but it was a purple carpet.
But it was a purple carpet with this same symbol.
So he was going by this symbol back then, not...
And I didn't know that.
Oh, so he didn't go by Prince, he went by this symbol.
Apparently.
Okay. Cornhole time!
I think we're going to go... Do we try eyes closed?
Eyes closed, but are they really closed?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
I don't know.
I trust him. He's closed. His eyes are closed. Ooh.
It's a lot harder that way.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Oh, dang.
It's like shooting free throws.
Oh,
gets one on there.
That's good.
Oh!
That's in.
Oh!
But it counts.
That's what I'm talking about.
I felt like you guys might have been.
That was a nice shot.
You might have been looking.
That didn't slide in. That just
so
went right in the
insulted.
hole. That wasn't one of those slide jobs.
There you go.
Oh!
It just went in, home slice.
Yeah, but that had to slide in.
Had to slide in.
Yours went bam.
Did it go in?
It did, but it had to
Just saying,
slide
on
its way
style
up the ram.
points. Style
The
points.
American Cornhole Association.
How about eyes closed?
Around the back.
Oh! Look out, Paul.
My eyes
It's
are
getting a little
closed.
violent.
Yeah.
Oh!
That's
Well,
not
yeah.
bad.
Take out Paulie's other eye
You
with
know
a
what I saw
beanbag.
somebody doing on the internet not too long ago? They had reinvented flinch ball, actually.
Oh.
And you sit underneath the hole there.
Can you stand
and
there real quick?
There you go. Now it's getting fun.
Oh, this is a game, right?
Oh, it's right there. They're coming.
It's awful.
You signed up for that.
Wait, but you didn't.
At least 2 of those would have got you. Maybe
Yeah, I'm not
3.
trying to get. Man, those things, they're a lot heavier when they're going towards your nether region.
Now there's going to be 2 or 3 shots.
RockAuto.com. All the parts your car or truck will ever need. RockAuto.com. Family business founded by automotive engineers in 1999. 2 goals in mind. Want to give you direct access to all the parts information hidden in the computers, catalogs, behind the parts store counter. And second, to make the parts affordable, offering reliably low prices. At RockAuto.com, you choose the part brands, prices, features you want anytime 24/7. RockAuto.com has a lot of the parts you've been told dealer only are no longer available. Delivered right to your home or office. You don't waste time and money hunting for parts, phoning, driving, waiting in lines. Go to rockauto.com. Tell them we sent you. All the parts your car or truck will ever need at rockauto.com. Brad in North Carolina. Brad, sorry, I know you've been holding for a long time. What's on your mind today?
Not a problem, DP. Man, you guys better put that interview into your Emmy reel for next year because that was fantastic, man. He was great. But anyway, just a quick comment, then a question for you. My comment is I work for a company. We're based out of Columbus, Ohio, and had to travel up there for training last year. The first week of November, it was 7 degrees. There's no way that they can pull off a winter football season in the Big Ten, in my opinion. But,
yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, what's your question?
My question for you is, and I know this is all fluid and everything's moving, hour by hour, but it does seem like there is a little bit more stabilization with the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12. But do you foresee any chance that there would be enough backlash from, I don't know, players, ADs, fans, that the Big Ten or the Pac-12 would backtrack off of what they're doing if things continue to stabilize with the conferences moving forward? Anyway,
all right.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
boys.
Brad. You too have a good weekend. No, I think that ship has sailed. Pac-12, Big Ten, they made their decision, and I don't think they're going to walk that back right anytime soon. We're going to hear from Dan Hicks of NBC Golf, and I was watching yesterday the U.S. Amateur, and the caddy on the final hole of a match play, the player he's caddying for hits the ball in the bunker. He goes in and is checking almost the texture of the sand and the depth of the sand, which you're not allowed to do. And I quickly said to the Danettes, Channel 218, because it was on Golf Channel, and I said, I didn't even say, I said 218, and it was playing out on live TV where the caddy cost his player his match because it was all square. They were playing the 18th. The caddy for the other players like, no, you touch the sand. So you have, these guys who, rules officials who were coming over, and NBC Golf Channel had an overhead shot of the caddy in the bunker, and he was rubbing it with his hand, and he was denying it for about 5 minutes. He's like, I didn't touch that sand. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to end well. And then next thing you know, the rules official hands the guy his ball and says, you won. And he's like, what? He goes, yeah, that you're not allowed to touch the sand. And it cost him. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. And you had Bones Mackay, Phil Mickelson's longtime caddy. He's on the course. He's your course reporter. And it's happening live, and I go, oh, my God. If we can't get the caddy on, then, see if we get Dan Hicks or Bones on. Yeah, Paulie.
The player whose caddy had the fault, Segundo Olivia Pinto, he was like, it's over? He goes, it's not a one-stroke penalty? He goes, no. He goes, the hole is over, so final hole. He starts taking off his glove, and his caddy goes to say, I'm sorry, or explain himself, or keep denying, and Segundo just turned and starts walking.
Yep.
He was like trying to keep his cool.
And the Golf Channel kept the camera on those two because you knew that they had to. He was carrying his putt or his wedge with him. The golfer was carrying his club, and that caddy is keeping his distance with the golf bag. And you knew eventually they were going to stop, and they were going to have a little conversation there because he had to get the wedge back from him. Yes, Eden.
It was so interesting too. Was the player that ended up winning? How awkward it was for him, and really like how disappointed he was that it ended that way because, he wants to play it out. He wants to play for real. He thought it was going to be a stroke penalty, but it was a very awkward moment for him, but interesting to see how disappointed he was.
Yeah, he was like, you don't want to win that way, but, those are the rules. Skip in Texas joins us. Hi, Skip. What's on your mind?
Hey, bud.
Hey.
Hey, this is your captain here in Texas. Let me know when you get that yacht.
Okay.
I got an idea for this Emmy fiasco. T-shirt idea for Seton here. Right. Instead of Les Miserables, let's go Tres Miserables.
Tres Miserables.
Wow.
Skip, thank you. Wow. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it wasn't really a fiasco. In fairness to the Emmy committee, I mean, we put on a good show. So much so, we've heard from the Emmy selection show that they somehow want to talk to us about what's going to happen next year.
Do they want us to host the Sports Emmys?
I don't know. But you know what? I would need a Sports Emmy first before I host a Sports Emmy. I'm just saying.
I'm into that.
Okay? Yeah. No, they did. The Emmy people reached out to us after they saw what we did with our show on YouTube. By the way, it's on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show if you want to see grown men cry. Let's see. Jason in Michigan. Hey, Jace, what do you have for me?
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Jay.
A couple NBA thoughts for you. That Blazers-Nets game was so entertaining last night, and being a Michigan guy, Karis LeVert has really turned into a special player. And speaking of Michigan guys, our guy, Duncan Robinson, did you see him last night with Chris Paul, where Chris Paul, they were chirping a little bit back and forth. Chris Paul grabbed the ball, throws it off Duncan Robinson. Then next play, Jimmy Butler gets the switch so he can run over Chris Paul because he's got to protect his guys, especially his shooters.
Yeah, we're going to try to get Duncan Robinson on again next week. And thanks for the phone call. Yeah, Michigan, you got reason to be proud with some of these guys. LeVert's he's a good player. I'm curious the roles that these guys will play when Kevin Durant and Kyrie come back. Final hour coming up. We'll talk to Dan Hicks, NBC Golf, and Todd Gurley, Falcons running back. I saw where Todd Gurley, he bought his house from, who was the Twilight kid, Taylor Lautner?
Don't even try it.
I have never seen Twilight. I've never seen.
Who's that?
Robert.
So I'm like, what? What's going on? So I get up to the house, open the door. My ex-wife had put all this incredible like decorations or furniture. She had like, what do you call it? Like some kind of cream Italian carpet. I don't know. I'm not a decorator. All this cream Italian carpet, furnished a whole 18,000 square foot home, right? I get in there and none of my stuff is in there anymore. It's all like this black carpet, it's purple couches, it's black couches. There's pictures of him everywhere, which I never saw that before. I'm not talking about like, you know.
Were they like portraits?
I'm talking about like posters, like you see at a movie theater, like, like, Wilt Chamberlain right here, Willis Reed. It's huge everywhere.
Can you be mad at him?
I was pissed because I was like, "What happened to my house?" Okay. We didn't agree to this in the contract. So I'm trying to get a hold of him. I'm calling. I'm like, I'm going to sue you. And who wants to sue Prince? Really? Like, who? Like, I was probably, my parents probably conceived me to your music at some point in time. So I'm like, I really don't want to, you know. At the end of the day, he reached back out to me maybe like 6 weeks later. And he was on tour in Asia for his album 3121. He's like, Los, don't worry. When I move out, it'll be like I was never there. And he wired me $500,000 to ease my mind. And it was crazy. When he moved out, it was like he was never there. It was like, let me just tell you how much money Prince had. He rented my house for him basically a little over $1 million for the year. He moved all of my stuff of an 18,000 square foot, fully furnished house in storage, redecorated the entire thing the way he wanted it, wired me $500K to ease my mind, moved all that stuff back out and put my stuff back in like he was never there. And that's how much money Prince had. Incredible.
Did you ever play hoops with Prince?
Yeah, so on the rooftop, it was a tennis court. I turned into a basketball court. So the day that they
on the roof of the house?
It was like a rooftop terrace. Crazy.
Wait, you had a tennis court on the roof?
Yeah. So the house was owned.
You got too much money, man.
The house was owned by someone that was in the entertainment business. So he had a lot of entertainment. He wanted he built the house. Anyway, so we shot the first day that he came to sign. It was pretty cool. He had a good shot. He actually had a good jump shot.
I know, but we keep hearing about Prince's game.
I mean, I don't know if he had game. I didn't see him play. He just shot around a little bit.
All right, Isaac in Maine, congratulations as we head into the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Be smart. We've got 44 and 32. So the clue for 44, it may be August, but today it's all about October, as in Mr. October, number 44, Reggie Jackson, because on this date in 1993, the Yankees retire Reggie Jackson's number 44. Looking over to number 32, the clue was, hope your 61st is a magical one. Hope your 61st is a magical one, as in Magic Johnson, who wore the famous number 32, because on this date in 1959, Irvin Magic Johnson was born, which would make him 61 today. So there you go, Reggie Jackson, Magic Johnson. That's pretty big. And that would be Isaac in Maine who got it right. Congratulations. Have a good weekend.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
Hello, Dan Patrick. Danettes.
Hello, little buddy.
Yesterday, you laughed and laughed at the misfortunes of this poor Australian anchor.
And he took a tomato.
But what's the saying? He who lives in a glass house shouldn't throw stones. I give you Chris Mannix.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
An NBA professional who spent a week writing a story on a man and still couldn't get his name right.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What's worse, he lectured all of us.
It's not that hard to say. It's phonetically pronounced Antetokounmpo.
Only to be corrected by Bucks announcer Ted Davis.
Ted Davis, the Bucks play-by-play guy.
It is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Bull, not ho. And yet you keep putting this man on.
But that's loyalty.
Maybe MLB Tonight deserved it. Just saying.
What did he say?
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Final hour on this Friday. Meat Friday at that. I don't know what we have on the Traeger grill out there. Have you checked, Paulie?
Some type of braised chicken.
Huh. I like it. As soon as I pulled in the parking lot today, the Traeger was fired up, and I was like, yes, it's a Friday here. And it gives you that feel of like tailgating a football season. We'll talk to Todd Gurley. He'll join us coming up here in a moment. Blazers, Grizzlies, they are going to compete for the final spot in the West and the right to face the Lakers. They will meet on Saturday. Grizzlies have to win 2. Blazers only have to win 1. Mark Emmert, the NCAA president, appears, says no championships for fall NCAA sports. But understand this, the NCAA has no jurisdiction over college football. They don't hand out an NCAA trophy. They hand out that crystal football. That's not an NCAA championship. But what I was told is keep an eye on what the NCAA is going to try to do with the bubble teams in basketball. Can you bubbleize March Madness? That's what they're going to be trying to do. 877-3DP Show, email address dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle at DP Show. I believe a 3-sport athlete in high school, football, basketball, and track. Todd Gurley joins us with a Phillies hat on. What are you doing with a Phillies hat on?
Oh, it matched my outfit. I got a Bart Simpson shirt on. My question is, y'all got any lamb chops over there on that Traeger grill?
We can make some. Are you?
It's a great option.
Are you a griller?
Yeah, I love the grill.
All right. Do you have a go-to?
Probably lamb chop, pork chop.
Nice.
Beyond Burgers. Bratwurst.
So everything. Let me see your shirt. Let me see your shirt. Can you tilt down and?
I don't know how I do it. It's like a little Bart Simpson shirt.
Oh, okay. So the only reason why you have the hat on is it matches Bart Simpson. I like that.
I got love for Philly too, the city of brotherly love. So
yeah, but you grew up in Maryland, or born in Maryland, grew up in North Carolina.
Yeah, and I got the Orioles tatted on me, but sometimes they make me just so angry, man.
Wait, you have an Orioles tattoo?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Like my stomach, that area.
Is that one of those tattoos you regret?
They're making me regret it.
But if they win the World Series, you're going to be the first to say, look at my tattoo here.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. It's hard. It's hard, though, with the Yankees, the Red Sox, trying to compete with those guys as well.
Yeah, it's like trying to compete with the Patriots.
Yeah, basically.
Did you get any grief when you wished Tom Brady a happy birthday a couple of years ago? Didn't you have an actual goat?
Oh, yeah. Well, because we share the same birthday, and it's just like, it's Tom Brady's birthday, basically, and then mine's like second.
So when they say famous people born on this day, it's Tom Brady, and then it gets to you right after that?
Nah, just Tom Brady and then everybody else.
I noticed that you're selling your house in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
Now, you bought that from Taylor Lautner? Is that the Twilight guy?
No. Yeah, I bought that house from him, but I'm selling my place that I was in when I was playing in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So anybody want to buy a house, 5 bedroom, 6 bath, y'all let me know.
But did you meet Taylor Lautner when you bought that? Oh, you did?
Yeah. Pretty cool dude.
Did he know who you were?
Yeah, he's a Saints fan, though, so you know how that goes now.
So he didn't give you a discount?
Just a little bit.
So how weird is it that, you're trying to get ready for that football season? It's 4 weeks from last night.
Yeah.
Like, what's your day like? What is a normal day like at training camp?
I mean, I keep telling people it's really not training camp. Like, training camp is when we used to wake up and get to the facility at 8 a.m. and we was in it at 8 or 9. Now it's like, virtual meetings in the dorm rooms or, at the house. So it's a lot easier than it was. I'm not going to complain being a vet in this league, but I mean, really just come in the building, you do an hour of meetings. Well, right now we're starting practice. Then right after practice, you get lunch, recovery, and then we'll start meetings for about 2 to 3 hours. And then after that, we'll do the walkthrough. And then our day is pretty much over with around about 6 o'clock. So it could always be worse. That's why I'm not complaining. I've been through the long days of training camp for 2-3 weeks.
How tough is it going to be for the rookies, though, Todd?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a lot tougher for them, just as far as getting the opportunity to make the team. But not only that, when it's time to play, it's going to be very difficult. But that's when we got to do a good job of getting those guys ready in practice every day. Showing them full speed reps, because once things amp up, it gets going pretty fast. So just trying to tell them, just control what you can control. It's a tough situation for everybody, and everybody kind of got to be on the same page right now. But just keep inspiring them and just giving them knowledge.
Why the Falcons?
It was just the right fit for me. I feel like same style of offense. Obviously, they have a great offense. And then, Coach Quinn, he's heard tremendous great things about him. I felt like, this system, the brotherhood kind of fit me, talking with Julio, obviously wanting to play with a great receiver like that, guys like Ridley, Russ. And then, we had a younger running back room, so it was time for me to go in and be able to share my knowledge as well, get those guys ready for when I'm not here and those guys ready for the future. And then, I mean, I play here at Georgia, man, University of Georgia, Bulldog, now Atlanta Falcon. Can't really name too many Bulldogs that went and did that. So it's kind of like, it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
How competitive was practice? So you have Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, and you at Georgia. Damn.
Yeah. It was great. I feel like our running back coach McClendon, B-Mac, he gave us a lot of good, words of encouragement, a lot of good coaching, but he showed us how to practice. I know that's one thing about the NFL. It's really about practice. Game day is going to take care of itself. I felt like we did a good job. I did a good job of setting that standard. And then obviously you see what those guys did when I left. They broke all the records. And, hats off to those guys. They led Georgia to a national championship. Didn't get it done, but, they did things beyond what I was able to do. So can't do nothing but be proud of those guys. You got Chubb, number 2 in rushing last year, Sony, Super Bowl champion. So, it's just good to see the young guys, get their shine on.
He's Todd Gurley of the Atlanta Falcons joining us, Dan Patrick Show. You were in that Gatorade commercial with Zion and Bryce Harper. Did you get to hang out with those guys?
No, we all did it at our house. So I did it at my house in California. And then I guess Bryce did his maybe in Florida or Philly. And then Zion did his in New Orleans. So it was like a kind of like this meeting right here. It was like a Zoom shoot.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I was impressed with that. How long does it take before you move on past the Super Bowl loss?
I really try not to think about it too much. It's long gone. I don't really talk about it until like people ask me. So it's still difficult to think about, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, and then you go to a city like Atlanta where they don't want to talk about their Super Bowl appearance either.
But it's so funny, we got a lot in common. It's just like I can relate to them. So, no other team I would want to be back with or be with than the Falcons, so we can get our payback for sure.
How's your health? How are the knees?
It's been good, man. I've been feeling good. The recovery time's been great. So obviously been on the same plan that I've been on since I came into the league. Going to have a couple off days during camp or whatnot, but I've been feeling good, just kind of taking it day by day. Got a good strength coach over here, Marty and his staff. So it's been good, man. I can't complain. Just chucking away day by day.
Yeah, I don't know if you have a chip on your shoulder, but if you do, I certainly understand it, because it feels like you're only 26, I think. I mean, it feels like people have moved on from Todd Gurley. Do you feel that?
It's just part of the NFL, especially with the running back position. It's kind of like we just die overnight. It's just like, oh, he don't have it anymore. That's kind of one thing I feel like they tend to do a lot with the running backs. But I know what I've done in this league. I know everything I'm capable of. I don't really try to go out my way to prove anything to anyone. I hear everything, but at the end of the day, I know who I am as a player, but more as a teammate. When you start letting the outside noise get to you and you start bringing it to that locker room, your teammates or your coaches are questionable, then that makes it a lot bigger. As long as I can control what I can control, just try to be positive every day and just go out to practice and work. That's all I can do. So it's kind of like the norm for me now. I've been hearing it over the last couple of years, and I don't really want to say chip, but it's definitely, I just want to go out there. Everybody want to go ball.
Well, I'm looking at these numbers. The 5 years, first 5 years, 70 total touchdowns. You got 58 rushing, 12 receiving. That's tied for fourth most in NFL history by any player over his first 5 seasons. So LaDainian Tomlinson is 1. Yeah. Emmitt Smith 2. Sean Alexander, who played with the Seahawks. Then Jerry Rice. You're tied with Jerry Rice for touchdowns over the first 5 years of your NFL career. That's pretty good company that you're in there, Todd.
Yeah, it's a blessing. And I went down a bunch of touchdowns too, so could be top 3. But like I said, it's a blessing. I know what I've done in this league, but it doesn't really matter. This league is about what you can do week in and week out. It's not about what you've done in the past or what you're going to do in the future. You have to be able to prove it. That's why you see guys like Tom Brady, who's been consistent for years. He's going on his 19th year, and everyone's going to have a down year, but when you just set the standard so high, what I've been able to do, these last 5 years, it's like, people expect more, and I expect more out of myself as well. So, it comes with the territory. You just got to keep working hard and just. And
now you get to see Brady twice a year now.
Yeah.
Be careful what you ask for there. You get to,
I'm not asking for anything. I'm just, I just wanted to be a great game. But it's gonna be different, but it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. It's a new division for me. A lot of new talent. I've been able to play against New Orleans basically every year since I came to the league, and played against Tampa a couple times, played against Carolina, played against the Falcons. So I'm excited.
Did you feel bad at all for the Saints when that bad call in the Superdome?
No, not at all. Why would I ever feel bad?
I don't know. Because you know that you guys got a gift there.
Hey.
You can admit it now. You're not with the Rams.
Hey, the call was the call. And it was a no call.
Did you watch Hard Knocks with the Rams? With Coach McVay had his shirt off. Did you see that?
Nah, I was watching the Chargers, man. Checking my boy Melvin Ingram out. I heard he got a new song that dropped, so I've been just checking them guys out.
Oh, so you watched the Chargers part of Hard Knocks. You didn't watch the Rams one?
Yeah, I take like a restroom break when the Rams.
Did McVay take his shirt off a lot during practice?
Nah, I ain't never seen that. he acting up. He acting totally different now.
For TV, that's probably why.
Did he look big at least? Was he swole?
Yeah, I guess. He's yoked up a little bit.
Give him some credit. He works hard, though. He be working out. He definitely work out.
Hey, it's great to catch up with you, and have fun there in Atlanta, and thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time, Todd.
All right, y'all be safe. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Todd Gurley, the Atlanta Falcons running back, joining us with a Phillies hat on. Dan Hicks from NBC Sports will join us coming up. That controversy yesterday during the U.S. amateur golf event. Crazy. Never seen anything like that before in my life. And Dan's done a lot of golf. I don't think he's ever seen anything like that either. Todd Gurley was fun. Came out firing there. Got his Bart Simpson shirt on, Phillies hat. Yes, McLovin.
I'm considering him a Phillies fan now. We need all the help we can
Oh, you're
get,
going to
right?
take it? Oh, okay. By proxy. This program brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT 4-door coupe because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any interview on this program from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to danpatrick.com. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, Mercedes-AMG driving performance. We'll take a break. We'll get to your phone calls coming up, and Dan Hicks from NBC Golf will join us coming up next here, 17 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. It's tough to hire somebody now. It's tough to be applying for a job now with everything that's going on and all the changes. But there is one place you can go where hiring is really simple. It's fast. It's smart. It's a place where businesses go to connect with qualified candidates, and that's ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter.com/Patrick. You leave the hiring to one place that makes finding qualified candidates fast and easy, and this is the best place. ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job sites, and then they don't stop there. They have powerful matching technology. ZipRecruiter will scan thousands of resumes, find people with the right experience, and actively invite them to apply for your job. And they make the hiring process efficient, effective, features like screening questions to filter candidates, all in one dashboard where you can review and rate your candidates. So effective. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter. Try it for free. ZipRecruiter.com/Patrick. ZipRecruiter.com/Patrick. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire.
So we were watching the U.S. amateur golf competition last night, Dan. You gave us a heads up to turn it on, Golf Channel. And there's an incident going on. Now I'm going to show it to you. First of all, the guy's name is Segundo Olivia Pinto. And he's in a match where he's on the 18th hole. It's his second shot. They're all square, is that what they say? So it's basically a tie. He needs this hole to win. His ball goes into a bunker. His caddy goes into the bunker to check the lie, to kind of eyeball it and see what's going on. Now, all of a sudden, everything goes haywire, and they accuse the caddy of testing the sand, kind of like how hard it is, how soft it is, which you're not allowed to engage the sand in any way with a club, with your hand, with your foot, even to like. The caddy says, I didn't touch it. For about 5 minutes, the caddy says, I didn't touch it. Then they went to the videotape. Tell me what you guys see here.
How many times, Justin, have you witnessed in your vast career something ending like this that isn't on the player, but it's his caddy, who, as you heard Craig Winter describe, is just
He's not
what
touching that at all.
the player treated in this instance, because he can relay any information to his player, and that was just...
He almost wrote his name in the sand.
Now, Todd, I'm going to defer to you on this one.
As far as cheating?
Sorry, Todd. You're very good at never admitting anything.
I like
when
to,
it's
I'm
clear
on the fence.
Hold on. When it's clear to the naked eye that's something you've done, you're
right. I
you're
leave
good
a
at
little room for doubt.
If you were that caddy, how would you address this?
I was taking a close look at things. I know it appeared like the sand was moving, but I think a gust of wind may have blown at the top. I just wanted to kind of put my hand over to feel the temperature of the sand, and then I don't know what happened exactly, but there was some movement to the sand, but I know I didn't touch it physically.
It's not bad. They can't prove a gust of wind didn't come through.
And as soon as I saw it, I just, I kind of...
So the rules official comes out and starts talking to everybody, and I don't think these young men are exactly sure of every rule. They know the rule that you can't touch the sand. But his competitor thought it was like a one-stroke penalty or a two-stroke penalty. He loses the hole. He picks up his ball on the hole, which means the match is over. Yikes.
He started to build a sandcastle, and that's when I said, I think this might
Wait a minute.
When he did a snow angel in the sand, I was like,
But I'm watching this, and then the Golf Channel had an overhead shot that you saw there. So I hear him saying, hey, I didn't touch sand. And I go, oh, boy. Then they brought in another rules official, and then she came in, and they said, you touched the sand. Then next thing you know, his competitor goes, wait, what is happening? He goes, you won. And you could tell where the guy who won was like, I don't want to win this way.
Yeah.
But, it was just weird.
The other caddy for the guy who won.
Oh, that was my favorite part.
Yeah, he was not having it. He's like, hey, my job is to get my guy a win.
So they wouldn't go to the booth and say incidental contact with the sand. That was
no, they did not.
That was
do
pretty
that.
clear.
But his caddy, the guy who won, was like, no, he touched the sand.
Sorry,
No.
bro. Everybody saw it. Sorry, everybody saw it.
And he goes, he moved it around.
He goes, and the worst part is you guys talked about it and stormed off, mad.
Yeah, I think we should discuss the role of the two caddies.
But when you lie like that, either out of nervousness or whatever, or you just don't want to admit it and think you can get away with something, it's like, don't they know that there's a very good chance that there's a camera somewhere?
Are you listening to yourself?
It was just so blatant, though.
I know, but are
If
you
it-
listening
If he just
to
touched it for a
yourself?
second, like someone's toe, touches or the club touches the bushes. And the
It's
rough,
like it's not cheating if you're just checking your answers.
yeah, but that was a little beyond. If he would have just kind of went like,
No, but you can't touch it at all because it gives you an advantage to hit a shot out of
but
the
that's
bunker.
what makes his lie so blatant. Because if he would have just grazed it, then maybe he could say I didn't. But he was like there for several seconds. moving it
Blatant
around.
lie.
Blatant lie.
That's a walk-off.
I'll
see you tomorrow.
Have a good weekend, bud.
He just did
See
the
you
mock
tomorrow.
headlines.
All right, go ahead.
Wowzers.
My guy Mookie Betts quietly hit 3 home runs last night. So he has 6 career 3 home run games. And he did it in career game number 813. And that game was played on 813 last night. How about that? Wait, I got nothing out of you guys? I get crickets? Betts has had his 6 3-home run games. All have come since 2016. No player has more than 2 games with 3 or more home runs.
813.
Yeah. Game number 813. On 813, he hits 3. Never mind.
Same month, same day?
Same month, same day.
I love that numerology stuff.
NBC Sports host Dan Hicks at Bandon Dunes in Oregon this week, calling play-by-play coverage on Golf Channel, the 120th U.S. Amateur. Live coverage continues tonight. And I was watching last night, and I saw something, Danny, that I'd never seen before. I go, that caddy is in the bunker, and he's got his hand in the sand. How would you describe, what was your reaction when you saw that?
So even a golfer like you, Dan, would recognize that immediately. That's just fundamental stuff. And so when he got down there almost on his hands and knees in the sand, it kind of, because Bones, who was out there with the group, actually gave us a little sense of what might happen, because he was talking about how the sand of the bunker was really windswept, really thin. And so that kind of prefaced the whole thing. And when he got in there, it was just, you've got all these crazy rules in golf, right? We're trying to figure them out. They change the vernacular. They change the rules seemingly every year now with intent and all that. But this was a no-brainer. It was shocking.
But I don't know how much experience this caddy had. This is the U.S. Amateur. Is he normally carrying a bag here?
So what we've understood since this, there was a little bit of, there was some commentary flying around on social media last night between the regular Bandon caddies that have been here a long time. And apparently he is a first-year Bandon caddy.
Oh.
That are happening here. Some of the regular caddies.
Hey, Danny, let me
more
hold on.
long-time caddies that have been at Bandon Dunes shows. Yes.
Let me put you on the phone because you're breaking up a little bit. So we'll try to get a better connection. Just have you on the phone instead of Zoom there. Yeah, Paul.
I got a question, Dan. If you were you know much more about golf etiquette than I do. Let's say you're in the amateur championships. This is a very competitive thing. And you're the caddy for the golfer who is doing it, on one side of it, final hole, and you noticed another caddy brush the sand and you knew it was a rule violation. Would you hope that the officials noticed it, or would you report it to the official in the middle of the round? How would that work, do you think? You're competitive.
Well, I would hope that the rules official would notice it. But if not, then you have to do a service to the sport because you police yourself. But I would think that, the other caddy, he's the one that said, he was really adamant. He's the one that's saying, hey, he touched the sand. Look, you don't want to win that way, but I can't let you win that way. So I would have to call you on that. I just think that golf is different. Normally the players are really good at policing themselves and calling a penalty on themselves. Yes,
You know what's funny about that, though, is that in football, right, if an offensive lineman moves early, everybody points at the guy. He did, right there, he did. Or the defensive line, offensive line, whatever, they're all pointing. Right there, him. But for some reason in golf, it would be seen as being a bad sport.
I didn't take it that way because this guy was lying. He's saying, I didn't touch the sand. I didn't touch the sand. And the other caddy's going, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yep, we all saw it. And all of a sudden, what makes it even worse, you talked about it afterwards.
I know.
That guy was so heated.
Oh.
He was so mad.
I know. And it's live. It's happening there. I've never played Bandon Dunes, but it's a really, really challenging course. It's a beautiful area there, but it's just they have golf there at Bandon Dunes. Let me bring back Dan Hicks. So the caddy, Dan, he's relatively new there at Bandon Dunes?
Yeah, he's apparently he is a first-year caddy at Bandon Dunes, and apparently in this COVID protocol situations they have here, you have to take a couple of tests, COVID tests, before you get inside the bubble, and you're then able to caddy for one of the participants in this U.S. Amateur. So a lot of the longer-term caddies here at Bandon Dunes chose to stay out of the bubble and continue caddying at the other courses that are here at Bandon Dunes. So this guy, wanted to, be a part of the U.S. Amateur and ended up, connecting with Segundo Oliva Pinto of Argentina, and that's how he ended up, on the bag. And the crazy thing is that Pinto posted last night on his Instagram story, hey, he's a good friend. It could happen to anyone, and hashtag no one's fault. So it's amazing how Pinto has continued to have this caddy's back, even though – and I think that's fine. I think Pinto took the high road here. You don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But at the same time, my issue is that the guy just flat out, didn't tell the truth. And I think that was clear from the video. And everybody that was there on the ground, including Tyler Strafacci's dad, Frank, who got a little bit in the situation there, saying he clearly, saw him do it and all that. So that's indefensible, not telling the truth. But it is interesting how Pinto decided to take the high road. I mean, this could have changed Pinto's life. He's from Argentina, obviously plays his college golf in the United States, but now he has no shot to be the U.S. Amateur champion, which is the biggest, most prestigious amateur championship in the world. So I had never seen anything like that happen, especially when a caddy makes the mistake. It was just a first timer for all of us.
So Dad got involved afterwards?
I talk about Tyler, his opponent, Tyler Strafacci's dad.
Yeah.
If you watch the telecast last night, he comes in. And when Pinto and the caddy, Brant Brewer is his name, are talking to the official there, Tyler's dad, who's caddying for Tyler, the kid who's competing against him, said, hey, I saw what you did. You clearly touched the sand. And he got in there in defense of his kid as to what the opponent was doing. So, it had a little bit of everything. You never know. These U.S. amateurs are a little bit like the Olympics. You're going to have drama before you get into them, but you never know exactly what kind of drama. So it was unprecedented as far as what we've seen happen.
But about etiquette, and golfers are really good. Most 99.9% are really good at policing themselves. But in this situation, what is the etiquette when the caddy of the opposing player is the one who's ratting you out on TV?
Well, in this case, it was we saw the video. It wasn't like the caddy of the opposing player. I mean, he wanted to get his. He wanted to fill in more information to the officials that really didn't need his take, Dad's take. Dad's Frank Serpacci, and they come from a long lineage of golfers dating back to his grandfather, who won all these championships back in the 30s. And anyway, what was interesting, if you saw the video, Pinto clearly didn't see it. I do believe that he did not see his caddy, Brant Brewer, in this case, test the sand, because there's this shot that we had of him just kind of looking over what kind of shot he was going to play on the edge of the bunker, but he wasn't looking at the time that Brewer had his hands on the sand and was scraping around. So, it was terribly unfortunate. I feel so bad for Pinto, but I just think the dynamic of him taking the high road is pretty amazing when this caddy cost him a chance at this championship.
But also the overhead shot, Dan, was just awesome to have that video where.
Oh, yep. That was the real clincher, to have that unquestionable video. I mean, I immediately started thinking, it's crazy, this game and all these shows we do. I immediately started thinking of Patrick Reed in the Bahamas, last year with his sand controversy, brushing the sand back, which he was penalized for, but denied that he could feel pushing the sand back, or saw him pushing the sand. Saw his club pushing the sand back. So in this case, it was so clear that it was surprising to hear the caddy say he didn't do it. So it was pretty clear cut.
We had Colin Morikawa on after he won the PGA Championship, and you talk about star power. I mean, his personality, his smile, likability, and he's not a bomber. He said, I'm probably in the middle of the pack here, but he's only 23. I know we keep waiting for that next golfer, whether it was Spieth or Justin Thomas or Rory or whoever it's going to be, but what do you make of what you've seen from Colin Morikawa?
Yeah, you're right. We always tend to say, well, this guy's got it all. When Spieth was doing it, and Spieth did have it all for a time. He borrowed it for a while, so to speak, which is the popular saying in golf. But by all accounts, and I've had a chance for a couple of quick visits with Colin Morikawa, he is so impressive. And we have Steve Burkowski that is with us at this U.S. Amateur, who lives and breathes college amateur golf, and who's known Colin Morikawa for a long, long time. And he told me yesterday, we were talking about this very thing. He said Colin Morikawa is singly undisputed most impressive young player that he's ever come across, as far as having the entire package, the wherewithal, the demeanor, the skill set, the entire package to be what we think is going to be maybe one of the more impressive careers. Maybe he'll end up being even more impressive than Spieth in the end, or Justin Thomas. I mean, those guys are, already have a head start on him. But I don't think it's hype to say that Colin Morikawa is going to have a star-studded career.
Now, are you rooting for just a normal broadcast? The next round here, or do you want? What do you want, Dan? What are you rooting for?
Hey, I'm all for the drama. We're getting down. We have 8 guys left, and we are commercial free, if you haven't noticed. And so we've got plenty of time for drama. So let's bring it out. Let's see something today that we've never seen, like we saw last night, right? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And after a while, you kind of run out of bio notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
try. It's fun though. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. These kids are great. This has always been one of my favorite tournaments to do, because it is so intimate. There's no ropes, and not that you have to worry about that now with no spectators, but it always has been a favorite of mine. And we get to the weekend, these guys are playing for a chance to get an invite to the Masters and the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. So it gets really good, especially on the weekend.
Have fun, Dan. Thanks. We'll be watching.
All right. I'll keep the sand out of my eyes here in Bend, and I'll do my best.
All right. That's Dan Hicks, NBC Sports. at Bandon Dunes. That's the 120th U.S. Amateur. Live coverage continues tonight, airing exclusively on Peacock from 6 to 7 Eastern, continuing on Golf Channel from 7 to 9. Also, coverage over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, Paulie?
I didn't know until Dan Hicks said one of the other guys out on the course yelling was the other golfer's father.
Who was caddying for him.
Yes. And how funny would that be? Like, you don't see that in the Masters. Like, Dad wouldn't be running out there complaining about a rules official.
Well, you used to have Matt Kuchar's dad was his caddy for a while, and he would rub some golfers the wrong way when he'd be like openly rooting for his son when he'd have, yes, and like golfers don't want to hear that from the caddy. Remember when Stevie Williams talked about how many majors have you won? And he said the number that Tiger had, and we're like, no, you didn't win those majors. You carried the bag. But you didn't win those. I got 14 majors. Then we had Bones on. We had Mickelson's caddy on. I said, how many majors have you won? He goes, none. Phil won them all. A couple of phone calls in here, and then we'll take a break. Jesse in Los Angeles. Hey, Jess, what do you have for me?
Hey, DP. Happy Positivity Friday.
Thank you.
Great interview with Coach Edwards. That was phenomenal.
It was. A lot of fun.
Hey, so you and the boys have put me onto some great music over the years. Some tracks like the Mary J. Blige and U2 track, and my favorite one that you put me on was the Tom Petty and Prince George Harrison tribute. So I thought I'd try to return the favor.
Okay.
There's a performance on YouTube by the band Heart, and it's with John Bonham's son on drums, Jason Bonham. I don't know if you've seen it. They're playing Stairway to Heaven with the rest of Led Zeppelin in the crowd. It's so good, it brings tears to their eyes. I highly suggest looking it up.
I've heard
have
about
a question for you.
Yeah, and Ann Wilson can get there where Robert Plant used to get.
Yeah. And my question for you, look it up, but my question for you is, are you more of a Outer Banks guy or Twilight?
Outer Banks, not Twilight. but thank you, Jess. I haven't seen Twilight. Nobody believes me. I just know who the characters are.
That was well done.
It was. Obviously, I'm an Outer Banks guy. John B., get out of here. Season 2, green lit. Yes, Paulie.
Dan, I don't know if I could back on
I've
this.
never seen Twilight.
Dan, remember at the Super Bowl in Miami, we did the Beach Bowl, and you had Taylor Lautner as a guest.
His dad was a fan of mine.
Uh-huh. You and Kay Frey were sitting there chopping up with Taylor Lautner?
No, Taylor Lautner agreed to do the interview because his dad said, you want to go do the interview with Dan Patrick. I didn't know. I told my daughters, and they're like, well, you had Taylor Lautner on. I go, yeah, I haven't seen Twilight.
So what was that selfie all about before he left, if you weren't such a fan of the
That was for my daughters. I did a selfie with Harry Styles. That was for the kids.
That's true.
It's always about the kids. Yes, Eaton.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yes, McLeod.
Now I know you're lying. The Harry Styles thing you didn't stop bragging about for weeks.
I know, that was for me.
You woke me up. You're like, you rang. Have you checked your text yet? You sent the text?
No. My daughter got a hold of me within 20 seconds, calling me. So I sent it out on the family text. She called me within 20 seconds. And she doesn't say, hey, Dad, hi. Or, where is he? I go, he walked away. Well, go get him. I said, Georgia, no.
Where is he?
Is he with the girl? I go, no, he's by himself. He's by himself? And I go, yeah, I'm not going to go bother him anymore. She goes, Dad. Like, what do you want me to do? You're in New York and he's in Florida. It's not happening. We'll take a break here. Last call for phone calls, what we learned, what's in store on Monday. And if you're watching on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show, we will take our lunch off the Traeger grill coming up next. Matt Burke telling me that he said, put your hands up. And then he kept going like It was just all this crazy stuff.
Hey,
We got a drill. Like a little drill that we
Dan, we're good to go. We're ready.
Oh,
We're
you
loose.
are?
We're loose.
If you want to watch this, ready?
Okay.
Wait, can I just say a word
See,
to
you're not getting through
Ross
there.
Tucker taught us that. Can I say goodbye to my daughters just in case something happens?
Yes, you can.
Lucy, Emma, I
do that
love you,
same
and I'm very
thing.
sorry about what's about to happen.
Nobody's
Okay.
getting through that.
Okay.
All right.
Ready?
Set.
No, I'm going to try hard count Muhammad here.
You do it. You
18, Omaha. Omaha. Hut. Hut, hut, hut.
Oh, he took it easy on you.
You had him, McClellan.
Oh! Would not help you. Not helping you.
How easy was that?
That was beyond easy.
See, if you'd been playing the Broncos, they would have chopped you.
I have a couple of
Well, your Broncos.
This helmet keeps falling over my head. There's no straps on it.
Man, you had him.
But I was looking downfield, and all of a sudden, I see Muhammad's arms, and I can't see anything else.
Well, his wingspan
it's
is like 7 feet, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's not fair.
Like you got a little workout on you.
That could have been a lot worse.
Why am I out of breath right now? Damn, that was fear.
I know. Yeah.
Did he do a sack dance? I was unconscious for 2
he doesn't
seconds.
do that.
Okay.
He just got up. This is business. He just got up, took care of business.
Thanks for doing that.
Came through with that big arm swing.
Thanks for coming by. All right.
Well, I appreciate
All right. Good luck this weekend. All right.
That's a ton of fun, dude. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Hey, man.
Try to
You can thank me for taking it easy on you.
try to hit one more shot. Mo.
One shot?
Yeah.
Put him on the
Just
spot.
see what you can do.
Got it.
Yeah. This is what it's all about.
Can I just go for the
People-
slam now?
You can go for the slam, but you can't bring the hoop down. All right, here we go. Oh, God.
Go easy.
No, there you go.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
Move down. Wait, hold on. People downstairs like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I say, you know what?
Hey, no problem.
care.
Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Muhammad.
No problem.
I'm still like shaking. I'm shaking like a leaf. It's very scary.
There's Chipotle.
I don't know what you did, but you did it, Alan.
Master.
I would definitely hit it with that.
This is
Tomatillo braised chicken.
braised chicken.
I love myself.
This is fall off the bone.
Tomatillos are fantastic.
Fall off the bone chicken.
What is
Fabulous.
Once again, I'll say this about Traeger. This is the bag. The moisture stays
on the
in.
end, and that's
You
fine.
never have anything that dries out. Never.
Very tasty.
And as much as I'd like to applaud Alan, they did a great job, you really can't screw up anything on a Traeger.
Oh, a couple weeks ago, he
No.
he's
And somebody from Chat Row sent him his apron. Grill Daddy.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm hearing he's got something planned for next Friday already.
Grill Daddy.
The man, the meat.
I've been called that before too.
Lunatic.
Had nothing to do with grilling,
I
Todd.
did not. I heard
What?
about that. I did hear about that.
What?
Absolutely nothing to do with cool.
No.
You get a little loose on Friday. Last 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Last 15, 20 minutes of the show on Friday, I'm pretty much cooked. I am done. I have entertained the nation, and I am done. Oh, the 12:15 boys.
Oh boy. Might try one of these
12:15.
other
Oh,
ones.
today's the 12:15 day.
Yes, the podcast today.
Yeah,
Oh, who's the
12:15.
special guest?
Dan G.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Love it.
Man, that's good. That is good.
All right. Wrap it up.
How much time, guys?
About 30 seconds.
Damn. Couldn't get this out. Shoot, fell apart. Sorry, guys.
a crazy week, man. A lot of fun, though. A lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Close up shop as we always do, Arcade Fire. Got a few other things to go over right after that. Back after this. Sports are finally back, which means it's Traeger time. And, man, this meat that we just pulled off the Traeger grill is awesome. You can pick up your Traeger today at a local dealer. Visit TraegerGrills.com/DP show to get cooking. I was going to give a shout-out to Paul Westphal, the former NBA player and coach, has brain cancer. I didn't think I could get in all the information I wanted to get in during the intro to the Arcade Fire song, but I've known Paul for a long, long time. And I got that information. It was a couple of weeks ago I'd heard about it, but I waited till it went public. But Paul Westphal, who was a wonderful player in college at USC with the Celtics, Phoenix Suns, and coached in the NBA as well. But he has brain cancer. So terrible news to hear. Did want to provide a shout out. Dr. Robert Weichman, I believe is how we pronounce it. His daughter Laura said, can you give my dad a shout out? It's his 60th birthday today. Diehard Dan Patrick Show fan. He will watch, listen every day, despite being a busy heart surgeon. And so it would mean the world if you could give him a shout out. You're a great daughter, Laura. And happy birthday, Doc. Final results of the poll question there, McLevin.
Who would you buy stock in, the Suns or the Pelicans? It actually went 51% Suns.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to find out what's going to happen with the Pelicans in the offseason. You know, they're going to change. You know, there's a chance Mike D'Antoni could end up coaching the Pelicans. There's a chance if he gets fired in Houston. Yes, McLovin.
Are you going to have your annual 8-9 play-in seed game watch party?
Yes. But it'll be just me in my basement with the cat. That's it. My kids just do a drive-by because there's a refrigerator in the basement where they'll go in and get something to drink, and they'll just stop by, and then hopefully they don't ask too many questions. Usually you'll get, who's playing? Is this important? When I get, is this important? I go, they're all important. Yes, McLeod.
Is Grizzlies Blazers enough to get us out of doing family stuff on Saturday afternoon?
Probably not. But try it, but probably not. Joe Kelly, the Dodgers pitcher, he was on the Big Swing podcast, and he is still upset with Major League Baseball's investigation of the Astros.
The people that took the fall for what happened is nonsense. Yes, everyone's involved, but the way that thing was ran over there was not from coaching staff. It was ran with coaching staff, yes, don't get me wrong, but they're not the head boss in charge of that thing. It's the players. So now the players get the immunity, and all they do is go snitch like a little and they don't have to get fined. They don't have to lose games.
That Joe Kelly, of course, was suspended for throwing at the Astros. Didn't hit anybody, but got suspended for throwing at the Astros. Now, you know when the Oakland A's, they had that bench clearing brawl there, the situation there with the Astros, and then you had the bench coach who was chirping, and then you had the player who came over, and, you know, bench coach, I said I would have suspended him for the rest of the regular season. Well, they sat him down for 20 games. And then I have a friend who said, well, you know why the Astros pitchers were throwing at the Oakland A's? And I go, no, because their former teammate, Mike Fiers, is the guy who was the whistleblower on the Astros who plays for the Oakland A's. And I go, oh, my God, I don't understand these unwritten rules of baseball. That guy ratted on the Astros, cheating to win a World Series, so we're going to hit some of his teammates. Cowardly. That guy had nothing to do with this, and you're going to plunk him a couple of times in that series. Astros, take your medicine, man, and move on. Because, you know, win a World Series this year. But, man, are you cowards. Anybody, when you throw a baseball at somebody, unless you're throwing it in their back, buttocks, lower part of their, body, and they know they're getting hit, okay, I understand it. It's a stupid, unwritten rule. I understand it. But when pitchers don't have to come to the plate, I think you're a coward. I got a ball I can throw 100 miles an hour. And you know what? You at the plate, you can't get me. Why don't they let the hitters throw their bat at the pitcher? I mean, it's a weapon. But, if that's true that the Astros were throwing at the Oakland A's because of their former teammate Mike Fiers, I mean, it makes sense, but man, do I think you're cowards. This day in sports history.
Good one, Dan. 1977, the New York Cosmos and the Fort Lauderdale Strikes played in front of 77,000 fans at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. The Cosmos at the time had...
Pelé!
Yep, Pelé, Franz Beckenbauer, and Giorgio Canaglia.
Wasn't Giorgio Canaglia, wasn't he a playboy? Wasn't he
Yes, a player.
Was that him?
Yeah, Canaglia played, I think, for Napoli in Italy. He actually got arrested for a few different things, had to leave the country and play for the New York Cosmos. I worked at...
Wait. He got arrested for a couple of things?
A couple of different things. Okay. I don't want to bury the man's great. He's passed away.
Yeah.
I got to know him a little bit when I worked at Sirius. He was fascinating, the stories he would tell us.
I think that... he's legendary, not necessarily on the pitch.
Yeah, Giorgio Canaglia is a legend.
Anything else on this day in sports history?
That's it.
All right. Let me see. Kyle in California. Hi, Kyle. What's on your mind?
Hey, DP. The Astros controversy, very similar to the Twilight vampire baseball controversy. I know you. I'll let you do a deep dive on that one next week. Anyway, hey, listening to the man.
I have never watched Twilight, okay?
Take it to your grave. We know. We all know.
I haven't watched it all the way through. That's what I mean to say. All right, go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
No worries. But the media on just in general thinking the Clippers are going to walk right by the Mavs and the Lakers are going to struggle with this fuming Blazers team. It just doesn't make sense to me. The Mavs are a lot like the Lakers, kind of. They got KP, who's a lot like AD. I don't know who's going to stop him. Luka, budding star. I think they're going to have a lot more trouble with the Mavs. That's going to be a longer series than the Lakers-Blazers. That's what I think.
All right. Well, thank you, Kyle. I've said it before that, because the Lakers are involved, that we're wondering, can Portland upset the Lakers? Nobody's talking about the Mavs possibly beating the Clippers. And the Mavs have a formidable, they have two really good players in Porzingis and Luka there. And maybe that's not enough, but what's Portland have? Maybe two really good players right now. They have a better team, I think, than Dallas does. But can Dallas upset the Clippers? You'd never know it because nobody has given any indication that could possibly happen. Happy birthday also to Magic Johnson. Turned 61. Magic 61. I remember when he was a rookie. Came in, had one of the great NBA Finals games of all time. All right, let's go around the room what we learned on the program. I'm going to start back left with Todd Fritz.
Todd Gurley watches the Chargers portion of Hard Knocks and takes a bathroom break when they go to the Rams.
McLovin.
Herm Edwards has a little Miracle the Meadowlands doll of himself.
Yeah, that was a great appearance by Herm. Seton O'Connor.
Herm Edwards has energy.
Yes, he does. Paulie?
I'll bet you Herm Edwards is a great recruiter in the living room.
If you missed that interview, you can always go to danpatrick.com. Herm Edwards was a whole lot of fun today. What did I learn, Todd?
Chris Mannix predicting Raptors Clippers in the NBA Finals.
What we learned brought to you by LegalZoom. They have a network of independent attorneys providing advice when you need it. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you don't have to leave your home. Visit LegalZoom.com today for more information. Thanks for joining us. Everybody listening, watching, those on chat row. Thank you. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Seton, Paulie, Fritzy, McLovin, yours truly, Dan Patrick Show.